The story begins on a battlefield, where the protagonist is face to face with what seems to be a final boss. Horn with a big sword, he says that God is dead, and that humanity now worships money, and references arcane engineering. However, at the end of that pursuit, they ended up turning themselves into slaves of monsters holding the sword and trembling. The protagonist asks how that is fair. Seeing the boss pulling out the sword, he throws himself forward, saying that none of this makes sense. A guy is screaming there. An explosion sweeps across the whole city. And this actually is the best modern apocalypse game that exists, called Arcane Soul now in the present. Our guy is looking at his phone screen, saying that this pay-to-win game is a disgrace. This is our boy Kim Jun-soo, 22 years old, looking at the character agonizing on the screen. He says this is so unfair. How is a poor guy like him, who doesn't spend money on the game, supposed to win anything? The guy in front of him says that he actually did pretty well for someone playing with a free character. But of course, his own character is so strong that even on autoplay, he beat the protagonist. Then he finishes off the poor guys on the ground, saying that in the end he actually did pretty well for someone who doesn't spend money on the game. The poor guys are walking down the street full of rage, cursing the heavens, saying that even after spending 10,000 hours on this damn game, he can't be anyone who spent just a little money. Clearly this wasn't a game. This is the disgrace of a casino with characters. But he says that, in the end, he's the idiot for still playing this crap. He should just be doing homework and moving on with life, but like a true addict. He's going to try pulling the daily free character to see what comes this time. But this time things were different. A platinum chest appeared, surrounded by a mystical aura. He recognized it instantly. Bro, what he got from that chest was the exact same character the guy was using, the SSR ranks Celestial Demon. Right then he couldn't believe it. That was literally the rarest and most expensive character in the entire game. The chance of pulling that while playing for free is 0.00006, in other words.
Impossible.
Like winning the lottery. Right away he starts using all the free characters. He had to power up the new one, which is way more powerful. At least since he's been playing for a long time. He has tons of experience, and is gonna max that character out. No more getting beaten up by those bastards who spend money on the game. Then all of his characters start being fused into the Celestial Demon. The experience begins to rise, and he tosses the phone in the air, saying goodbye to Warrior Kim. Warrior Kim, right? Which is the name of his character. Since he's named Kim and the character is a warrior, incredible, a genius at naming characters. But hold up folks. Look who's showing up from the side. Right after he got the Celestial Demon, the guy's expression changed. He wondered why this event felt kind of familiar, like something he read before. Next scene, he opens his eyes and he's in a hospital. People wait. So it wasn't a nice guy, or was it? He gets up all crooked, wondering where he is and why he's there. Of course his head starts hurting right away, and he remembers the truck that came right at him. The guy kind of dodged it, but the hit still landed on his body. As soon as he gets back to his senses, a nurse walks into the room and calls him Warrior Kim. She says she'll go get a doctor, but he's sitting there confused, trying to understand why she called him Warrior Kim. When he looks at his name, that's exactly what it says on the file. The poor guy's a bit lost, wondering if the hospital staff are a bunch of crazies, or just fans of that game. Maybe it's just a joke, because he spent those 10,000 hours playing as Warrior Kim, leveling everything up to boost the Celestial Demon. But wouldn't it be ironic if he actually became Warrior Kim? The second he tries to get up from the bed and touches the ground with his footman, pain shoots through him. First realistic accident, where the protagonist actually has consequences. The others just get up and walk like it's solo leveling. The nurse comes running and shouting, telling Warrior Kim that obviously he can't be walking around just yet. Then the doctor shows up and says that for someone who got hit by a truck, He's actually in decent shape. But before he can leave, he'll have to run a magical vision test. Of course Kim Jun-soo is confused. What is this stuff about calling him Warrior Kim? And magic tests a bit later. At the front desk someone does some calculations, and says that considering all the costs, it's going to be just 22 million. The poor guy freezes for a second, and asks why he's paying us hospital prices. The doctor, smiling, completely ignores him, and says that if he doesn't have insurance, he'll obviously have to pay out of pocket. The poor guy says he pays his taxes on time. He was entitled to the Korean national health system, but the lady's confused, and says that in the land of the orange guy, there's no public health system. Actually, she asks if he has insurance from the Legion, or the Magic Tower. Every second he's understanding less and less. That's when he remembers. He's heard terms like those before. Magic Legion Mega Corporation, Magic Tower and Sacred Order. The four factions that rule that game. A world where the gods abandoned humanity and our king. Science advanced drastically. Earth was polluted by monsters, and humans had to modify themselves to survive. And now the poor guy finally gets it. He ended up in a world that's insanely hard to survive in. And worst of all, he landed there right after his accident, and is already all messed up. Walking around the zone, he says, "This is so unfair." The second he was happy about getting the celestial demon, something like this happens, and he becomes a tutorial character. Maybe it's divine punishment for having discarded all those warrior Kims he had. When he enters the room, he's shocked. It's a cubicle smaller than the one he used to live in. He's already wondering why the hell this warrior Kim is so damn poor. He falls onto the bed saying that now he's screwed. His body's wrecked, he has no money. And on top of that, he's a tutorial character. At least it's Arcane Soul, which he knows so well. The problem is, he knows that soon there will be nuclear war and dimensional explosions. The ancient gods will come seeking revenge, and this place will turn into hell. He doesn't know how or why he ended up there, but he's 100% sure that if he stands still, he dies. That's when the madman has a crazy idea, bro. He grabs a pen and says this is the moment to find out. Better now than later. He stabs his own hand and screams in pain, but right away it turns hilarious. The wound disappears and he gets excited, saying he knew it would work. Just like that, he gains a trait. Willed recovery. That's the reason he was able to create so many warrior Kims. That's the only character with no base traits. On the other hand, you can do certain things to earn different attributes, and for him that's perfect. Someone who has to rely on strategy, instead of an overpowered character. And now he's got the biggest advantage, because he became Warrior Kim himself. The first trait he got, wound recovery, already healed his leg, and all the damage from the accident. As long as he works hard, he can get any trait he wants, and he doesn't have time to stand around. Because Arcane Soul is the kind of place where you die if you're poor or powerless. You also die if you're unlucky, and you die if you run away too much. But he's not gonna let any of that happen to him. Back at the start of the game, he was ranked 100 in Kim, 1689. But he played and played and played. After 10,000 hours, being the only person who made it that far. Without spending a cent, he was in the top 10. Rank 9, one of the best players. All that was always with Warrior Kim. The very body he's in now. Already in a player zone, a bearded guy asks Warrior Kim if it's really his first time there. Our boy says yes and says he wants to join the mana purification business. Truth is, first he needs to make money. Because in this gacha game, bro, money is everything. And the only thing he's got right now is his body. So that's how he's gonna earn. The old guy throws his foot up on the table and says that, yeah, it might be called mana purification, but you should know exactly what cleaning a dungeon means. That was director Choi Shiansu. A little awkward, the protagonist says he does, and the guy immediately comments that there's absolutely nothing on his resume. But our boy knows that the job he's asking for is miserable. so he'll definitely get hired.
Klianing kontaminated mana.
Isn't something a lot of people are willing to do. The reason is as more and more monsters started taking over the Seoul region. Dungeon clean UPS became a necessary task. Basically, it means collecting battle debris that's emitting contaminated mana. The problem is constant exposure in that place can lead to instant death. There's a guy there with his hand on his head, releasing a dark aura asking for help, and suddenly he transforms. The result of exposure is turning into something extremely dangerous, which is then immediately executed. Shunsu goes ahead and says he's hired, and once they've got enough people, he'll be placed in a team. But he recommends the boy think it over. He's seen a lot of people start out in this line of work, and soon after become something unrecognizable. Kim Jun-soo, however, replies that he shouldn't worry. If there's one thing he has, it's patience pro. The guy played 10,000 hours for Freeman, so if he's got anything it's patience and experience. But in the next panel, we see the team captain named Deer. That's literally his name, folks. Well, yeah, you can see the little horns there. Makes sense. He asks if he's the new trash that's gonna join the team. A bit confused, our boy answers like yeah. He thinks it's him. But he didn't come here to get roasted like that. That's when Deer grabs him by the collar and gets up close, asking if he thinks this is some kind of playground. Where's the fire in the kid's eyes? He's sure the boy will soon be begging to be killed after going through an instant mutation. Kim doesn't care about any of that and just replies, fine, he'll stay aware of something like that. While remembering that in the game, it was like that too. This guy was always trying to scare people. The real question is, why is a guy like Deer, someone ranked R even here? Apparently he used to look normal before awakening, and growing those little legs too. That's when another guy in a blue shirt comes running, and tells Deer to stop messing with the rookie. After all, they were already sure on people working this niche. This guy is Red Hog, with 5 years of experience in the field. Deer, though, says he doesn't have many expectations for the kid, as long as he doesn't get in the way. And that's good enough. Then he walks off, saying it's time for them to get going. They've got 5 spots to clean. Warrior Kim isn't happy about getting humiliated like that, for some reason. This bastard was even crueler in real life than in the game, but Red Hog tells him to relax, saying that while the guy seems annoying, he's actually a decent person. So our boy just says okay. Then next scene, they're standing in front of a metropolitan gate. The smell there was absolutely awful. But the boss just tells them to get ready. They're going in. As soon as he swipes the card and the door opens, he's already shouting for everyone to get in a position. Among the piles and piles and piles of rubble, there are what seem to be slimes. Actually, they weren't just slimes. They were contaminated slimes. And the annoying part about this creature wasn't its strength or danger, but the simple fact that even if you cut it in half, it doesn't die. It only dies if you find the mana core that's hidden somewhere inside its body. Everyone's already all tangled up. When Kim charges straight at one of them, the teammate who's being swallowed up by a monster looks back, and Kim's coming in swinging a pickaxe, apologizing but saying he won't be responsible for what happens next. He barely manages to hit the core and avoid the guy's leg. The poor dude nearly fainted, but the slime died meanwhile. The guy who merely got his junk sliced in half is trembling on the ground. Our warrior Kim, on the other hand, is already running and finishing off everything, striking core after core non-stop. The boss and the rest of the team are confused. It looked like the bastard was killing each one in a single hit, something that shouldn't be possible, since the cores are randomized. But that actually is something pretty much impossible. So now we go back to 2 days earlier. The lunatic was on the ground in a playground, digging around for something. Families were even pulling their kids away, saying not to look at this craziness. But then suddenly Kim found what he was looking for, a 501 coin, and because of that, he earned the treasure hunter trait. For him, that was the most important thing for a warrior Kim. While he celebrated having found the coin, an old lady tells the kids not to listen to that crazy guy. But the truth is our protagonist knows that before you start killing monsters, there are a few things worth collecting. Next scene, he's in front of a trash can, vomiting, and with that, he acquires the contamination resistance trait. That one was one of the worst, since apparently, he had to deal with a bunch of stinky stuff and garbage just like in the game. You get certain traits, as long as you fulfill certain conditions. Obviously right, because he is Warrior Kim. In total, you could have 6 traits activated at the same time, and could switch between them whenever you wanted. With Treasure Hunter, he could see what his opponent's weaknesses were. That's because that trait let him easily spot manhwa. But then the slime explodes in the middle of the group. Deer's there shielding himself, telling them to be careful, and not to end up swallowing any of that contaminated mana. Meanwhile, Kim Man is looking at the inside of the creature, soaked in slime, saying that hard work always pays off. Warrior Kim really was the perfect class for someone who likes to put in the effort. And of course he can't be contaminated, right? Because he's got the resistance trait activated, even though he's acting all badass, playing the tough guy on the bus. He's totally wiped out after a day of work. Bro Red Hawk, though, comes over and thanks him, saying that it's because of our boy that everyone's getting off early today. He sits beside him and says he's never seen anyone work as well as he does. Maybe he'll awaken like Deer. But our boy lies, says nah, nothing like that. He just has a bit of military experience. That's all. The guy still praises him, saying that if that's true, then he really is amazing. But then out of nowhere, horns appear on his forehead, and Kim already realizes that the guy's not even noticing that he's undergoing changes automatically. Our boy says, yeah, you should probably start taking it easy and take a break from work. But Red Hog says he'd rather turn into a mutant than face the reality of a life full of debt. This game world is perfect, bro. The Korean work routine of 25-hour workdays, with the US healthcare system, all the best parts of capitalism. And Kim, poor guy, he knows someone like Red Hog doesn't have many options. 4 days pass, and once again, the job is done. Since he's the only one with poison resistance, he's also the only one who finishes the job without being totally wrecked. Like the others, someone nearby is puking, bro. And yeah, it looks like Red Hog is starting to go through the transformation. Kim just thinks to himself that he told this guy to stop overworking. Like that. That's when Deer shows it behind him, saying that apparently the kid's still full of energy. Maybe it's because he's so young. He never imagined someone like him would be that good at the job. Back off, Deer. We haven't even seen a wafer yet, bro. Go away, our humble boy replies that it's thanks to the hard work of the team. But obviously right. It's all thanks to those damn traits. Deer, though, sits down and says that he, on the other hand, is dead tired. That's when suddenly they hear a sound nearby. When they turn, they see that Red Hawk is beginning to transform. The others call out to him, asking if he's feeling okay. In the same second, Deer takes off running, telling everyone to be careful. And Kim already knows what's about to happen. They're hugging their friend, telling him to keep his mind clear, that they'll get out of there soon. But man, his expression changes. Right then, an explosion sweeps across the cleanup site. When Kim opens his eyes again, a giant red foot is stomping the ground, and his friend had turned into a mutant. The sad thing about the mutation is that in 1 second, the person loses all sanity. And if they don't take this guy down right there, they won't be able to get out alive either. The problem is the 6 traits he has equipped right now are all focused on monster cleanup. None of them will help him win this fight. No matter how he looks at this situation, he knows that everyone there is screwed. Bro, I really thought this was gonna be one of those scenes where the protagonist dodges everything, comes out like a badass, but nope. The story is keeping it real with no combat traits. No, he just got punched in the face blown into the ground and left totally wrecked. At the very least he got the resistance trait. Obviously he wasn't going to give up that easily. He opens the status window and starts switching out his traits. Of course strength would be useful right now. Man of Heart would help him focus his energy. Resistance would increase his chances of surviving each attack.
Mana absorption.
And regeneration would work well together to help him recover. And the last piece of the puzzle, corruption resistance. Since the enemy was a mutated creature. With that he had all the basics set up. And was time to go on the offensive. But who comes charging in? Bro, it's Red Rogue. Rushing in for another hit. Kim throws the shovel back. And activates the strength trait. With that, he had 10 times the strength of a regular human. One smack with the shovel sent the creature flying like a golf ball. He's feeling confident, saying the rhythm's good and maybe he can do this. But then the Sonic cousin stops midair, starts spinning and comes right back at him. The bastard even bounces off a rock and comes from above. He's there, wondering how he's supposed to dodge something like that. The whole brown explodes and Red Robe rolls to the side. Our boy Kim Jun-soo managed to resist by activating the resistance trait. That boosted his defense tenfold. But even getting ready to punch, he says that even with that cursed trait, it still hurt like hell. The problem is, he doesn't have time to think. If he stops here he dies. He tries to throw a flurry of punches, JoJo style, but the problem, bro, are the spikes on the monster's back. And worse, the mutant seems to have control and fires one, like an arrow. No, not one. What the hell? The dude fired a whole barrage. And our boy got shredded, man. I know he's got resistance, but now he's really done for. Flat on the ground, but when it comes to perseverance, he's got plenty of that, all pierced up. He charges again to land another punch. I don't even know what happened, but the guy's hand is not looking too good. Red Robe prepares another attack and blows up his arm. Bro, come on. This is the first monster he's fighting. It already feels like the final boss. The poor guy's just lying there, thinking that the life of a warrior Kim is never easy. The monster comes in for a hammer strike to finish him, and the ground explodes. We didn't see a flashback. Our boy was back there, playing on mobile with his warrior Kim, telling everyone to come at him cause he'd win. Back then playing was so easy. All he had to do is tap a few times. And the hunt began. He never thought about what the characters were actually going through. But now he realized it's painful as hell to even earn a mediocre trait. From inside Red Rose's hand comes an attack that smacks him right in the face and sends him flying. The kid is all impaled, but suddenly he's jacked. He finally acquired the mutant muscle trait. What the hell, bro? It's like Tremblone is flowing through the kid's blood, and he says now he understands. There's no winning without paying the price. The reason he went into those reckless attacks was to obtain this trait, which you could only get when mana, heart and strength were activated at the same time. From the start it was all for this moment. Red Row goes for another attack. But now he blocks it with his arm. He hits back full force, saying that move won't work on him anymore. The monster, though, fills his fist with spikes and lands a direct hit to the chest. That bastard, now he's full of holes again. What now, gonna awaken another trait? Looks like that's exactly what's happening. His whole body riddled with holes starts regenerating. He had obtained the mutant body trait, and he thanks Red Rogue, saying that he's been evolving a lot. Thanks to his friend, the creature charges once more, and the two locked hands pushing against each other. Meanwhile, on the ground, Deer, who had been knocked out, starts to wake up and sees the chaos unfolding right in front of him. He doesn't understand what just happened with Warrior Kim or what kind of superhuman strength that was. How is it possible for a human to be fighting head to head with a mutant creature? The two monsters hit each other with an attack, and both go down even with all those traits. Things weren't easy for our Warrior Kim. His size was similar to the monsters, but even then he was at a disadvantage. The creature roars and he knows it's dangerous, But he has no choice, the monster charges in again. Sonic style, while he activates contamination resistance. He's going to have to do the only thing left. Use a delete with that trait. Bro Deer is freaked out. I don't know what he deleted. But Kim's transforming all weird. He turned red, more buff. And giant up the tremblone dose. Guy went full demon mode, drawing pentagrams on his head, and firing a laser at Red Rogue. Half the area got wiped out. And Deer's on the ground. Still trying to process how the kid just did that. The protagonist glances back. And Deer can't understand why the mutants are fighting each other. That should only be possible if Kermit transformed, and still managed to keep his consciousness. In that moment, bro. He was mutant fighter Kim. Bro, the dude is like 30 meters tall. While Deer is crawling on all fours like Ugg. But the huge guy is closing in from behind. That giant hand is dropping to smash him. But when he checks again, Kim had already changed back. The power ran dry, and he collapsed to the floor like trash. Glad that he at least lived through it. All of that only worked because of corruption, resistance trait, which lets you unlock a mutant body, plus mutant muscles, and then, if both are active and you delete resistance, you obtain the mutant trait. Everyone thinks once it triggers, you can never go back to normal. But after 10,000 hours in the game, he learned what to do before it happens. Once you have mutant muscles, you start adjusting to that sensation. And when you remove the other trait, you force yourself to keep some awareness. As soon as the fight ends, you unequip the mutant trait and re-equip poison resistance. And that is how you revert. Sly bastard, you are actually a planner, huh? Only issue is he is sprawled in the trash. Totally spent. His muscles burn like hell and he cannot move. The statless guy is now completely ripped. HUD and monster, he drags himself upright, legs trembling non-stop. And he recalls when Red Road died. He got a level 1 human mana core. And he makes that wild grin like it was worth it. He just missed one small detail. That guy was meant to be his friend. But clearly he does not care at all. All that matters is the mana core. He is jumping for joy, saying this cleanup run finally paid. Then Deer arrives with 2 guys behind him, asking if our boy is alright. Wanting to know if he truly became a mutant. What the hell happened here? Obviously, Kim does not want rumors spreading about him, so he says the only way to win was letting the virus hit him, hoping he would turn back normal. Basically, it was pure luck. Deer does not look convinced, saying it looked way too easy, but Kim waves it off and tosses the loot in his hand, telling everyone it is time to head back and breathe some fresh air, because that place was far too contaminated. Our boy is sure that, after sharing a few mana cores and saving their lives, they will likely keep his secret. But Deer, yeah, he is still standing there suspicious, hands tight with nervous tension, back with Chi-Shur and Sue, who is grinning ear to ear, saying, he heard the kid went through something rough. Must have been awful. Kim nods, saying it was easy, and everything turned out fine, while wondering why the hell this guy is suddenly trying to flatter him. Then the boss says he should have stepped up and admitted he was superhuman. Then he would have gotten a much better job instead of dungeon cleanup, so it all fits now. The guy thinks our boy has some special power. In the world of Arcane Soul, what is a superhuman anyway? It is just a human with abilities. Thanks for that, author. Your explanations are always so useful. Without them no one would get anything. And in a world like this, where power is everything, that is extremely rare. The main character is actually just human. But since he killed a mutant, people naturally assume otherwise. Then the boss pulls his hand from his pocket, saying he has to pay for the cleanup. When he sees that fat money pouch, our boy is thrilled to let him believe whatever he wants. The guy slaps 50 million on the table and says they usually keep 20% and split the rest across the team. But this time it changes. They will only keep 5% and Kim gets a bonus. Our boy is left speechless. In the end, he walks off with 12 million. with the face of a smooth talker saying, "It is nice working with honest people." As he leaves the office, he is all smiles, thinking about how he will spend it. A guy nearby says he looks fired up, like he just scored a payday. A bit embarrassed, Kim says yeah, while realizing this was one of the guys who worked the run with him. Then the bald guy says he wants a word, to ask a favor. His wife is sick and he needs to borrow money. Poor Kim. He got paid less than 10 seconds ago, and people already want loans from him. What a brutal curse. The guy keeps apologizing, saying his only shot to save her came from working together. He saw Kim was a decent kid. But our lead is not sure helping like this is the smart move at all. He barely understands how this world works. What if this guy betrays him later? And he barely has enough to support himself. But deep down he is soft-hearted. He tells the man not to bow since he is older, and gives him some mana stones, saying it is not much but he hopes it helps. Kim would never ignore someone in need. Later on back at home, look at this guy's face, saying that idiot really is easy. Forgiving cash just from a sad story. Hold up, this is not home. It is an alley and that damn deer is here. Saying the kid must be new to the game, to go around handing out money like that. The guy says, if he had made up a story about having a kid, then Kim would have paid even more. And he is mad too, that the bastard likely earned more than them. Deer says yeah, something is clearly off. That guy is not even superhuman. So maybe it is time to teach him. The bald guy asks what he means, and Deer says it is obvious. That little idiot has some strange ability, and now they know his secret. Then he crushes the mana stones and says, it is time to show how terrifying this world really is. Man, background characters never stay satisfied. You had it good, but now you want to get crushed. Our boy, on the other hand, with his first paycheck, is already in a luxury room getting a massage.
Oh me the Kim Jun-soo.
Tell me there is a female masseuse, right? Because this is getting suspicious. You are always with Deer in the dungeons. And now you end up in spots like this. But hey, whatever works for you. Maybe he has that 2,000-hour strategy. So he probably knows his moves. I will allow it since, even after all those massages, from that highly trained pro, his whole body still aches. From that forced transformation, the traits he can use are many, but they are not all powerful. His body shifts based on what he equips, and it becomes harder each time for his body to endure the strain. But so what can he do? He cannot survive or do much without using all of them. So that is just reality then. Something grabs his attention as he looks out the window, and instead of staring at girls in bikinis, he is focused on a tattooed uncle outside. Arcane Soul is run more by gangs than by law, which makes sense, since this is a place where police cannot do anything. Superhuman players decide everything. He mutters to himself that he barely survived this time, and he is not sure about next time. At least as Warrior Kim, he can spend some money on items, and finally make progress at a weapon shop. And at last the artist used like 0.2 grams of pencil to draw a woman, and she asks what he came to sell. He says he brought monster remains, but she warns him right away. They do not buy any level 0 mana cores. He tells her not to look down on him. He digs into his backpack and says he came to handle this. A huge human mana core that looked like a Rasengan from Naruto. It was a level 2 core. No need for that shocked look. What he did in the hotel room was fuse every core from the guy he killed, plus all those slimes as well. And that finally made a level 2 core worth buying. And now he is blushing, saying the value depends on the level. If it pays enough, he will have money to buy a weapon. She offers him 4.77 million, and he instantly says he wants to check the shop. Armor and weapons. She tells him to come behind the counter. And back there, it looks like a military armory. More than a dungeon shop, there are like 30 minutes and 4 seconds. Pistols and bazookas.
Plus backpack.
This feels more like PUBG than solo leveling. But the kid looks thrilled, saying he will pick the best stuff. And yeah, he walks out with half the shop in his backpack, fully hyped, that now he can finally play Arcane Soul in peace. Then someone suddenly calls to him. Now that one woman showed up. Here comes the second one. Getting bold now. She asks if he happens to be a mercenary. She needs help, he says no. He is not, so she says fine. She will find someone else. And she flashes a wad of cash, saying she is on a business trip. And she fears a certain gang. She only needs protection for herself and her stuff. Kim instantly thinks $500,000. For bodyguard work is not bad at all. Especially since he just geared up. His face changes fast. And he says he would never ignore a girl in danger. If she needs a bodyguard, she can rely on him. They walk through a few alleys. And yeah, it is starting to feel shady. He is thinking the same. Why would a girl on a business trip choose a sketchy place like this? Suddenly she speeds up, runs up the stairs, and tells him to come around the corner. When he looks, she is at the hallway end saying, "It is right there," so he goes really. This fool is actually falling for it. But as Warrior Kim in that moment, he could not see a thing. So he activates night vision, but out of nowhere, the girl pulls a pistol and says, he is more careful than she expected. Before he can ask what is happening, she is already aiming, and Deer is right behind him. Kim tries to speak, but the guy just says, "Good to see you again." Then our boy immediately asks what he did to deserve this. As Deer says he looked like an easy mark. Kim is already sprinting. He dumps the weapon backpack and runs for the end of the alley. Deer tells the girl to fire, and she takes aim and hits him right in the spine. Our boy tumbles down the stairs like trash. The leader storms in complaining. She was supposed to hit his leg. Now he is dead. She says that is better than letting him escape. The problem is he really was dead now. The strange guy who somehow became a mutant was still human, the girl says. Maybe that is good. Someone might pay for a body like his. The leader does not care. He tells them to grab the body already. But in a blink, the body vanished and they freeze in confusion, not understanding what just happened. Then the lights explode, and someone gets smashed in the back of the head. No one can see anything, because the darkness is total, besides extra strength. And all those resistance traits. There was one more thing at the weapon shop. He made sure to buy a bulletproof vest, because you never know what will happen. And the second he got shot, he gained another trait, playing dead. And since nobody can see, it is easy for our boy to sneak up on Deer and crack him clean in the jaw. The fool drops instantly, but he gets up and manages to throw a kick. But our warrior says, the bastard should have been grateful he got saved before trying to kill the one who saved him. That is not the smartest move. But as he moves to stomp his head, bang, another shot echoes out. The girl yells for him to freeze and asks if Deer is fine even while he is invisible. Our boy still took a hit in the arm. And that is when he remembers. In Arcane Soul, the scariest thing was not mutants or monsters, it was the people in that world. He was too naive and trusted too easily. Then he pulls out the Glock 2 and shoots her hand to knock the gun away. I expected cold, calculated Kira-style headshot. But the other guy is still talking. Yeah, you can tell he will play the nice guy. What do you think? Leave a comment below. Right then. Would you rather he killed both of them or not? The messed up part is our idiot got distracted, and now Deer comes in with a huge kick that smashes the side of his mouth. Looks like he barely dodged at the last instant, but he dropped his gun doing it. And the worst part, the bastard legs transformed. Now he was a real Deer, a level 1 superhuman. Our boy cannot believe the bastard evolved. Right in the middle of the fight, he sees the pop-up screen, and Warrior Kim explains that in this game, Anyone can go through a superhuman awakening. It is basically the core growth system. And once someone awakens, they can easily overpower a human, even if that human has a rifle. And now, with his normal body, Kim has to face this guy, who transformed in a single second. The guy became a blur. Dear ability was stereotypic jump. No idea what it means, but basically, a skill that lets him jump in many directions, at insane speed like creative mode. Like gravity got turned off. He is already scaling the wall for a dropkick from above. Kim hits the Call of Duty shift key and slides out, just in time. Deer cannot believe someone unawakened is dodging him, so he goes again. And this time our boy must defend himself. But the idiot's face suddenly shifts. Kim pulled out a weapon and successfully blocked the full strike. He says in the end, the guy is just an animal. Like he thought. Buying that expandable baton was the best call. A few hours earlier at the shop, he was unsure if buying a weapon was worth it, because Warrior Kim guess his class. Yeah, warrior class. The stronger he got, the less useful guns became. He needed something fit for a warrior type build. Since there were no real swords available, the best pick was that baton. And since he is a warrior type, he gets bonuses using that weapon. If you thought he would leave unscathed. Yeah, no. Here comes our boy with the beatdown. The first strike lands in the stomach, and that earns him the strong hit trait. Finally, his first trait that actually matches his class. That buff can apply to attacks from above, below, or from the side. And the best part is, it works in tons of situations. But Deer is still dodging everything. And he throws another kick. Sadly, Kim left a big opening. And he might not dodge this time. With no clean option, he chooses to endure it. He lets his arm eat the hit. And counters with the other arm, landing a strike behind the knees. The guy was faster and always landed first, so Kim decides to keep swinging. Every time he takes a hit, and after landing a non-stop chain of attacks, he unlocks his second trait combo. Right at the start of the game. Nothing tops this for Warrior Kim. A heavy strike with a combo. The ideal setup to hit quick and hit brutal. Now that idiot gets smashed from every angle. A clean smack to the chest. He drops like a trash bag on soaked asphalt, while our boy is celebrating, saying he finally put that bastard down. Then his hand starts glowing out of nowhere. Something feels off to him. Pain floods his entire body, and he drops into a crouch, groaning hard, hugging his arms, clueless about what is happening. A golden blast and aura surge out of his hand. Warrior Kim awakened and became a superhuman. He tightens both fists and roars up at the sky in celebration, bro, wearing a straight psycho face. He is no longer just a regular person. The madman is even throwing boy moves now, saying his legs are finally changing now. And then all of a sudden, a guy with shorts on his back says, "Looks like he actually did it." When our boy turns around, bro, a man walks in carrying a bazooka, with 3 kilos of ammo. That is Iron Fist Kim Man. Right behind Warrior Kim. He is the second most basic 2-star character, a class like a reinforced soldier type, with firearms as his main weapons. Plus he can fire using his prosthetic arms. And the real problem for our boy now is that bastard leads the Iron Fist gang. Kim has been brawling on their turf, so they took it as a direct provocation. Iron Fist steps in close and plants the bazooka on Kim's chest, asking if he even checked where he was before making a mess like this. Kim tries to explain, bro. He had to protect himself and avoid dying, so he really had no other option. The guy draws a pistol and says, Kim feared his enemies more than he feared the Iron Fist gang. Poor Kim, man. He just ended one fight, and he already knows. If another fight starts now, he will not make it. The guy taps his heart and says, in the end, Kim chose the worst path possible. And now he will learn what happens to people who start trouble on their territory. After a moment of silence, our boy says they missed one thing. He snatches the guy's gun, bro. and says he will not die that easily. Then he pulls the trigger himself, and the bullet punches through his chest. The guy is stunned, wondering if this lunatic just shot himself while gripping the gun. Our boy staggers back a step, bleeding and clearly. This was some kind of requirement to unlock another trait this time. It looked like a higher tier regeneration. Iron Fist, who I sometimes call Steel Fist. Yes, sorry, the background is messy. Says the kid has a pretty interesting power. Now it adds up. You only get that advanced regeneration if you already have the basic one, and you have become a superhuman. But what our boy is doing right now is basically a bluff. He knows these guys will not let him walk away, so he tries to scare them a little. He points at the crew behind them and says if luck is not on their side, they will not leave this place alive. They better watch themselves, because they are messing with Warrior Kim. The big man laughs and says, this Warrior Kim guy is pretty bold, and because the kid has guts, he will let him leave alive this time. But he better understand what that means. Our boy nods and thanks him. The man offers his hand and says he looks forward to working with him. Our boy clearly understands the message. He is being spared, but from now on he works for that guy. And for a kid at rock bottom in this city, connections might help. He brings his hands together and says, until next time. Then it cuts to the superhuman tower. The game already impressed him, but seeing it in person was on another level. Nothing like the place he stayed before. Someone behind him thanks him for visiting the superhuman tower. He thought a showgirl would appear, but nope, it is just a receptionist. She looks neat and proper, but our boy is already blushing hard. He clearly has never even seen 16 micrograms of woman up close. The girl says she knows. He came for his superhuman certifications. All he has to do is enter the room to measure his mana and traits. Kim already clocked it. He must look totally lost, so she did not even need to ask whether it was his first time. But as he steps into the room, a loud sound erupts, and everyone clasps their hands together, kneeling and telling others to look up. Apparently the saint is arriving. The saint is either a ship in the sky, or the singer herself is about to show up. A laser hits the center of the room, and our boy freaks out. Robots come in. And our boy seems to recognize them. He says it is the order of the old father. And seeing the girl in the black helmet, he wonders why a game boss is here. But everyone is kneeling and praying, worshipping her arrival. He thinks maybe he is inside some kind of tutorial timeline, because at this point, the saint really was a person, not a boss. But later the story reveals the order she serves is a cult disguised as a religion, and they begin slaughtering city residents. Yet these poor fools keep praying, saying, the saint came to measure her power again. The girl pulls out a massive hammer and starts glowing gold, smiling like a total lunatic. Meanwhile, Kim can only think, this crazy lady is way too loud. Yellow system text pops up reacting, and she stands there waiting for results, still wearing that insane face. The crowd tenses, then the result appears. The saint is actually a priest class, with level 8 mana and a 6-layer circuit. Everyone starts cheering, while she walks around with the same stare. But one guy is not cheering, sweating like crazy, and it is our boy. He mutters they should not celebrate, because a level 8 superhuman has the destructive force of a full bombing fleet, basically a moving national disaster. And the worst part is, he already knows this threat will wipe out Seoul soon. But seeing that cult-like worship, he knows nothing, he says, will change their minds about her. For now he does what he can, bro, which means focusing on leveling himself up and avoiding too much attention. So he unequips a few traits and keeps only 3. But then the saint glances to the side. A man beside her asks what it is, and she says something about that individual. In a blink she is already behind him, saying he has a very interesting ability. He flinches, surprised and confused, saying she startled him, while wondering why this boss came over just to talk to him. Maybe she noticed his equipped traits. Everyone in the worshipping crowd is thinking the same thing. Why is the saint speaking to that useless idiot? Then she grabs our boy's hand and says she wants his name. Awkwardly, he gives the legendary name Warrior Kim, while remembering there is only one reason. Priestess asks for a name. An arcane soul out of nowhere. She starts praying to the old father, asking to baptize and bless the boy, declaring the one on the black throne of gold will grant him all the power he needs. Bro, she is really trying to baptize him. And now even glowing golden tattoos start rising on his body. She tells him to submit to the world's peace and let go of the hatred here. The crowd gets jealous, saying this is a once-in-a-lifetime chance, especially from the great daughter and the strongest saint. But here is the issue for Kim. If he takes the baptized trait, he will be forced into becoming a paladin. And even though those lunatics will attack the whole city, in the end, they will lose to Korea's strongest warriors. He steels himself and pulls his hand free, then yanks away, thinking she is like a crypto scammer. Except this time the loss is guaranteed. The crowd gasps as he drops to his knees and says he refuses baptism. The saint's expression changes instantly. She says she must have heard wrong. Our boy stays awkward but firm and says nope. She says she heard him clearly. Well then fine. We cannot deny citizens their freedom. But he can be sure. The old father will always watch him. She places her hand on him, muttering some devil's hour curse, saying he better remember. The holy light is already inside him. Oh snap. She turns and leaves our boy literally on fire, burning in front of everyone. He is being cooked alive, while people say it is his fault for rejecting the baptism. Yeah, being an atheist here is absolutely not worth it. Someone says what she used is called divine fever, a punishment skill for refusing baptism. That brings extreme pain. Obviously Kim, our guy with 10,000 hours of gameplay, already knew this would happen. But even so, having your whole body on fire still hurts like hell. Divine fever was one of the strongest debuffs in the game. Basically endless pain drives people to give up on life. That is how the temple removes anyone who rejects baptism. Our boy is an idiot. I thought he had a trait to survive it. But he was about to die until pure luck. Someone splashed a liquid on him that cured him. Yeah, it makes you cured and purified, folks. New term added to the gamer dictionary. It is that plain girl from earlier. The one he fell for, right? She is the one asking if he is okay. He thinks she is a little crazy, since most people refuse to help anyone caught in that whole baptism mess. But thanks to her healing, he only had to hold on a bit longer. Finally it shows up, bro. The divine resistance trait. The guy is basically in full cultivation mode, gathering energy like crazy. He never would have refused without a plan. Divine fever burns away your mana. And since he is only level 1, with almost no mana right now, the fever does not hit him that hard. Phase 1 complete. Now he has gained divine resistance. And he already equipped the trait. The problem is he is still burning, still twisting in pain, while the girl keeps tossing bottles at him. I assumed it was rare healing potions. But nope. She is literally throwing plain water on him. But even if it is just H2O, it helps him settle down. He stays right there, bro, focusing fire and water inside his chest, while divine energy burns around him. Dude is full yin-yang mode, mixing fire pain with cool reason. With a tiny bit of mana left in his chest, he manages to snuff out the flames. Everyone shields their eyes. And what he awakens is mana barrier. Now he stands there looking smug, arms folded tight. 5 seconds ago he was dying like an idiot, but now he looks confident. If one thing keeps Warrior Kim alive, it is this. Then the girl asks if he is okay. He says yeah. thanks to her while everyone else looks confused, wondering if he truly survived divine fever. But the truth is Kim did not end the fire. Technically, he is still burning. He just formed a barrier between himself and the flames, so the pain cannot reach him. And this mad lad, without hesitation, walks straight to the platform to measure his talent, and when the scan ends, it shows that he is still level 1 but has 6 circuits, which are basically traits. The people behind him say it makes sense now why the saint was so interested. He is basically a super beginner. Kim wanted 0 attention. But after what happened with the saint, it could not be avoided. The receptionist congratulates him, saying she has never seen a newbie with 6 abilities before. Now he only needs a superhuman license to make it official. Later at the registration desk, there it is, the license he fought so hard for. She congratulates our boy on becoming a full superhuman. He is practically glowing. His heart almost bursts from his chest. He says he worked hard for a moment like this. She says she will explain the new privileges he has, but nope. Our boy lists them before she can speak. Lower taxes and he can carry weapons. The higher his level, the more cash he earns, plus he is immune to arrest for many things, transportation and food. Tons of stuff is free and there are more perks too. She stands there confused like looks like you memorized every benefit. He says it is because he is addicted to games, or rather to avoid saying games. He claims he is a doctor in superhumanology, but then he says he needs help with something. That is not part of the perks. Looking at the crowd outside, he wants a way to leave without drawing attention. She stands up and tells him not to worry. She already prepared something. He gets flustered as she rises and drapes a small jacket on his shoulders, telling him to follow her. We are so used to massive waifus that this normal one feels almost too normal, but maybe that is a good thing, like yin-yang balance. After so many intense moments, now comes a calm one for perfect equilibrium. As they walk with the cloak, he thanks her and says without her, this would have been much harder. That cloak had a stealth ability, and by using it he also gained the stealth trait. She points down the hall and says, sadly she can only take him that far. Our boy thanks her and she walks away, while this fool stands there, thinking he never expected someone in Arcane Soul to be that kind, and she was cute too. So when he gets stronger, he will definitely repay her. He checks the card she gave him for her name. Her name was Baxering. Then he remembers a badass from the game, a sword-swinging maniac in the Berserker class, one of the top 3 strongest warriors in the entire Berserker class. Since she always wore a crazy face in the game, he did not recognize her. But now he realizes why she felt familiar. I never thought that crazy woman could smile like that, for anyone thinking his life was finally going to improve. Forget it, man. There he is, worn out and dried up, because he has been farming non-stop for a week, ever since he became a superhuman. In all that time he made 1 dungeon, which proves it. Warrior Kim's efficiency is trash. One reason, though, he is doing this badly, is they must keep traits that massively boost mana regeneration, so he can sustain that barrier. Because if he removes it, he will be burned up by the holy flame. The issue is, he believes if he focused only on hunting, he would have finished hours earlier. The problem is to clear this debuff. He needs a potion called Nectar. It is the only cure for divine fever, but it costs a fortune, and he has no way to afford it. The only way to earn cash is grinding this cleaning quest, but it is dragging on forever. While he is there, exhausted and trapped in this misery loop, his phone rings and it is Director Choi, and he is thinking, when is this jerk going to stop calling? The guy is insanely persistent. Just as he is about to reject the call, his face suddenly shifts, like he just found a perfect plan. Later at the sales agency, someone greets Warrior Kim. It is the same boss as before. He says he heard Kim survived divine fever, and even has 6 abilities. He calls him a man of true honor. Kim just stands there like, yeah, it happened that way. He asks how the job is going. Then the guy suddenly looks serious. He says it is too difficult. Nectar is incredibly rare medicine, only obtained from superhumans, who are above level 5. Kim rises saying if he cannot get it, then he is leaving, but the guy blocks the exit, saying he does not need to worry. The item will be secured very soon, so there is no reason to go. Kim knows this guy has ties to countless hunters who started there and became powerful, so maybe he really can get nectar. Kim sits back down and asks the favor. The guy shows something on a tablet and asks if he knows number 1 security. Kim is confused and says he does not, asking if it is a security firm or what. The man says it is a private military company, one of the top 10 in the nation. The CEO and vice CEO are a married couple who also work there. Both are from old martial families, so the company is built on a strong base. Kim asks what is wrong with a protection company like that. They would not need protection. For a protection company, the old man says that is not the point. Their son is the issue. He is over 20 and still has not awakened any power. Kim says that should be rare, since both parents are martial artists. The old man says the boy already has mana at level 8, but still he cannot awaken, and it seems they want to hire someone, a level 1 superhuman warrior, which is exactly Kim, and he smirks, saying if that is true, it sounds like solid work and he will handle it. Next they are in a huge mansion, sitting on a couch, and the old man says, the CEO must be busy right now. Kim, meanwhile, is just looking around, stunned by how luxurious it is. Their faces change though, when someone says sorry for the wait. The woman on the right apologizes, introducing herself as Lee Mary, and says the man beside her is Seo Jongju. That guy looks like a born winner. He even has CEO in his name. Kim's boss is already bowing, thanking them for meeting them. Meanwhile, Kim realizes both are superhumans, at least level 6. Their mana is overwhelming. The father, Seo Jongju, has a scowl like a brute, saying they look too weak, and this will not be worth it. The wife tells him to calm down, especially since strength is not what they need now. Then they sit and she thanks them for coming. She asks if they will take the request. Kim agrees, but first, he needs to check the son's condition to see what is blocking the awakening. Then Seo Jongju slams the table, standing up and cursing, saying he will not share that with some amateur like him. This guy seriously needs to relax. Kim has not even started yet. The mom calms her angry husband, apologizing and saying he acts like this over their son, but it is not something they tell outsiders. If he accepts the job, then they will explain everything. Besides, she already noticed he needs nectar. Honestly, this family is ridiculous. They hire someone before sharing the real issue, or if it can be solved. Now they revealed it, so what can he even do? But Kim does not have a choice. His progress is terrible, and he needs to farm again, as soon as possible. With 10,000 hours played, maybe he knows the answer, so he accepts the request. Then the prince walks in, introducing himself as Shu Wujin. Kim approaches him, introduces himself and greets him, but he instantly notices the guy has no visible mana. Then he spots a strange glove, marked with a small pentagram. Wujin says he does not deserve it, but he wears it anyway. Kim says he gets it, because he must need something strong enough to lock his mana down. That detail hits everyone hard, and the whole family looks shocked. Kim smiles and says, now it all makes sense. The moment he saw the glove, it explained all their conditions, and why they wanted a level 1 warrior. Wujin was likely baptized by the church order too, and he never awakened, because he refused that baptism. So he sealed his mana to avoid being burned, to keep it from going public. They hid it as a secret. Then they heard about warrior number 1, who survived divine fever. So they went straight to his workplace. Woojin looks impressed and compliments Kim, saying they basically called Sherlock Holmes. Kim licks his lips, saying it is easy to guess when you already know the future, because he recognizes Woojin's face, the same face of the man who later, in the future, becomes the church order's vanguard paladin. He refuses baptism and stays powerless for years, but his parents eventually lose influence. So then, he gives in and joins the church. Now the father changes his tone, asking if there is a way to remove the baptism from his son. Kim can tell. The man is suddenly acting friendly, humble out of nowhere. But Kim says yes, there is a method. Only someone with 10,000 hours would know a trick like that. He says Woojin has suffered long enough, and he can help him escape that fate. I called him a prince, but he really acts like one. Kim is basically pampering him, and Kim wants this, to steal someone away, who would have joined the church. He will take a future subordinate from her, as payback for trying to baptize him. But he pauses, and tells them there is one condition, to treat the boy. The mom says she understands. The request just got harder, but they will do whatever he asks. Kim says he wants them to teach him the mountain smashing sword technique. The parents' faces instantly change. Kim wears that smug grin, but his boss looks terrified. The mom releases an aura and steps closer, demanding if he understands what he said. Staring at the towering mom, he wonders why she is so scary. Even the father hides now, saying he wants no part of this.
Kim explains.
People think it is weird that he learned sword techniques in a world driven by data and tech. But in Arcane Soul, where power equals authority, everything shifts, because this technique is perfect for smashing warships and tanks. Someone with that power is priceless, and becomes a battlefield monster, and nothing beats learning it from level 1, then building it up from the very start. But seeing the mom's aura, he adds that he only wants it if he succeeds. Then, the mom looks at her son behind Kim, and shuts off her aura. She agrees. If he heals her son, he will get the technique and the nectar. Kim is thrilled. Those are the two things he wanted most. He acts surprised, but his face tells the truth, saying he never expected it, and he thanks them sincerely. But the mom warns if he fails, they will not take it lightly. Kim says do not worry. He will begin the process now. Next they enter a room with a mana fusion circle, plus 200 intermediate grade mana potions. The mom says she prepared everything he asked. Kim thanks her, but says he needs privacy with the patient. During the treatment, what does he think he is a doctor now? Making demands like that. The mom apologizes for how she treated Kim earlier. She says Woojin was baptized before he even started school, so he never had a chance to make friends, and he had to live alone. But why, like, when he goes outside, does he just start burning up? What is happening? Could he not make friends without mana? I mean, making friends here is hard. I guess they explain it later. She bows and thanks Kim, saying she is trusting her son to him. Kim figures like him. She also hates that saint, and seeing Woojin so gentle, comforting his mom, makes Kim wonder how this guy will become vanguard leader later. Then Kim tells them not to worry. He guarantees success. Alone in the room, Kim tells him to get ready. The treatment is about to start. The kid is trembling. Kim tells him to relax, but Woojin thinks Kim is going to torture him, pump him full of drugs, shock potions and anything else. He is confused, and asks what treatments they tried before. The truth is curing divine fever is just drinking nectar after awakening. But he was cursed so early that before he had mana, he absorbed massive divine fever energy. That is why he never awakened, and why nectar does nothing. Kim grabs potions and tells him not to worry. But today's treatment is classified. Then Kim expands his mana barrier. But as it spreads, it grows weaker, and divine fever starts affecting him. To keep it expanded, he chugs 2 potions, and refills his mana. Then tosses the bottles back, refills his mana again, and throws the bottles away, refills his mana again. After doing this over and over, he unlocks the trait addicted to drugs. With that trait on, he takes more damage and spends more mana. But in return, every item he uses gets its effect massively boosted. Once it activates, he can focus on maintaining the shield. Now, with non-stop mana from potions, he can stretch the barrier much farther, pushing the fever farther away. The kid is relieved. But Kim says this is only the start. He tells Woojin to remove the glove, put his hand outside the barrier, and then hold Kim's hand. Woojin says the 2 fevers will resonate. Kim says he will live, because he will stay inside the barrier. Kim is already outside, telling him to stop asking questions, and just do it. The issue is, Woojin has not released mana in a long time, so he is nervous. Since the day of his baptism, it was the only way he survived that pain. But he does not hesitate long. He takes off the glove, and extends his hand past the barrier. The problem is, his mana surges toward Kim like an explosion, and Kim wonders how much mana this kid stored up. This is going to be terrifying, because Kim will take both fevers. The moment he touches that hand, his whole body erupts into flames. It burns, far worse than the baptism ever did. His bones crumble into ash as he regenerates, but his hatred for that saint is stronger than the pain, so he throws himself into the glove, dropping to the floor with the prince. He gains the skill damage absorption, letting him take the damage meant for someone else and redirect it onto himself. Woojin is ecstatic, because even without the glove, he can stay calm. Kim explains it, but it is already obvious. He pulled the fever out of the kid, drawing it from inside to outside, weakening the fever he already had. Now for the final step. He hands Woojin a sword, and says keep attacking until you awaken. Woojin says relax. Sword training is all he has done this whole time. He steps in and hits Kim dead on. Man, he could have eased up. Then he is behind him with another strike. Kim cannot believe he shattered a steel gauntlet with a wooden sword. At least he gains the trait protection. But still, even boosted defense is not enough to survive this monster easily. Woojin swings a vertical strike again. Instead of blocking, Kim dodges at the last moment and instantly unlocks the trait evasion. The issue is, he is stacking traits, but can equip only 6. So he is not getting much stronger. Or so he thinks. Then he smiles, because he sees smoke rising off Woojin. That is the sign. He is about to awaken for real. But then Kim spots something odd. The kid and the sword glow the same color. Man. He awakened at SSR rank with a talent. 1 with the sword. That state means he becomes the sword itself. Yeah, literally. And it is absurdly overpowered. For the warrior class no less. Kim cannot believe it happened. And worse, he is in a trance. And will not stop attacking. Not even for a second. Kim tries to dodge. But a strike is coming for his face. So instantly, he swaps his traits to pure defense and recovery. It is the only way he can survive and not die here. He raises a barrier with both hands and plants a reinforcement circle underfoot. Everything stacks and blends together. Then Woojin's strike lands at full power, and the entire floor collapses. Kim even has to raise a mana shield, a hybrid of barrier and protection. He stands back up completely wrecked, saying, "This talent is way too broken." Then he sees Woojin is wobbling, and he collapses like dead weight. But the sneaky kid looks happy, falling asleep with a grin, which makes total sense. It is his first awakening, so he burned all his mana. It was obvious he would be strong, since in the game he was SSR. But when he was baptized, he was pushed into becoming a paladin. Even when it was obvious, he fit the warrior class far better. Most likely, what Kim did was forge a savage warrior, something that should not exist. This world's timeline got completely rewritten, since he would not be tied to the church anymore, and now he was the strong, which is perfect for our guy, because this monster is a spoiled brat, and now he owes him a small favor. Later, back in the room with Woojin asleep, everyone is amazed that he really healed the kid. The parents are already bowing, thanking our guy, who stands there proud of himself, acting like it was nothing, telling them to relax. The mother strokes her son's hair and says, "It has been so long since she saw him sleep." With a smile like that, then she looks at her husband, and they share a quiet smile. Seo Jong-ju walks over with an envelope, saying it holds the details on the mountain smashing sword technique. Kim says that is not necessary. But come on. He is freaking out inside, and his face changes instantly when the father adds that as extra thanks. He will also receive a bonus. 1,000,000,001 now. It is all smiles, saying he loves kindness. But you can see his real face inside. Later, back at the base, the boss says he hit the jackpot, holding the chip and the nectar. Our guy says he definitely did. The boss asks if he will drink the nectar right away. Kim says yes, and that he will vanish for a while. The boss already understands. Once his divine fever is gone, he will draw even more attention from the church, so disappearing is smarter before those fanatics start hunting him. Still, he feels a bit sad. If he had time to refine the nectar first, it would boost his mana by a lot. Kim agrees and says he knows. Nectar is rare for someone at a low level. If it got refined, it would raise his superhuman power even more. After a while, he reaches a hotel, and the boss thanks him for everything. He says if Kim needs help refining the nectar, just send a message, and Kim says okay. He will consider it, but the second he enters the room, he opens it and says he is drinking it right now. He has learned how brutal and unpredictable this world of arcane really is. That mess with the deer proved it. At any moment, he could die or get betrayed. On top of that, he has drug addiction, mana absorption, and potion dependency, all of which will amplify the effect. Thanks to those 200 mana potions, he chugged one after another, drank them, the Moomus and the Genius. And now the moment he drinks the nectar, he hurls the bottle down and drops to his knees, as the divine fever hits again. And here comes the speech again, saying every fiber of his body is burning, like he is breaking down and rebuilding. All at once, a massive amount of mana fills inside him. A golden aura blasts from the rooftop, and he levels up to superhuman level 2, even better for curing the divine fever. By using the nectar, he gains the trait Black Flame, and since it is tier 1, it ranks among the best in the game. I assume tier 1 is the lowest tier here. Not sure, we will confirm later. The guy who was grinning all day just got Black Flame and the mountain smashing sword technique. But his victory lap gets cut short by a phone alert. It is Director Choi saying he needs to talk. Our guy decides to ignore it and keep moving, but the messages keep piling up. So he turns back to see what he wants. The texts look like nonsense. Something about knowing why he hesitated, telling him to stay sharp and keep hunting, and to reply the moment he reads it. Kim is baffled. This guy cannot even text right, and now he is sending huge blocks of words. Then he notices something off. In the word order, there is a hidden meaning, saying the Dagger Gang is coming for him. First of all, obviously, This hidden text trick only works in Korean. Translated like this, it makes no sense. Secondly, seriously, our guy must be a genius detective to catch that with one glance. Kim, though, knows that hiding it like this means it has to be serious. The Dagger Gang were basically rivals to the Iron Fist Gang. If Director Choi meant to betray him, he would have called to stall for time. So this coded message is clearly his warning that he got caught. And timing-wise, it was right after our guy left the car, and now he is heading back. But Kim chooses to set it aside for now. He already got the nectar he needed, and now he just has to get stronger to stay alive in this world. Meanwhile, in another room, the poor bald guy is getting beaten. Honestly, he was a decent man. So yeah, I feel bad for him. And our protagonist does not seem eager to save him. Not really. They demand he spill info about the new superhuman with him, but he refuses to talk. No matter what they do, the guy with the psycho grin says, "Fine then." He leaves them no choice. They will do it another way. Damn. He pulled out an axe to kill him. How is that supposed to get answers? He asks which hand he eats with, and says he will lose the other one. Of course the bald guy hesitates, and the man raises the heavy axe. He is about to chop it off when boom, an explosion erupts behind them. Everyone turns in shock, asking what just happened. A henchman drops to the floor, shouting to the boss that a lunatic is coming. I expected him to kick the wall in. But no, he fired a bazooka. For a warrior class guy, he really loves modern weapons. He says he cannot abandon someone who helped him this much. Even if this world of arcane is cruel, he needs allies and cannot lose one of the few. So he will blow the whole place up. Another rocket hits the building hard. This setup is completely modern. Guys rush out with AKs and a force in hand, scanning around like, where is the guy launching rockets at our base? Kim says they are like cockroaches. When you blast the nest, they scatter in every direction. Even though it looks like a normal apartment, he knew it was the Dagger Gang's base. It was like a dungeon, hidden in the middle of the city. He cleared it countless times. Back when he played, he knows each of the 6 buildings that form the whole complex. And since you do this, in every tutorial he can handle it. With his eyes shut, he leaps from one building to the next, saying he will show them how a veteran clears it. The armed men crowd the street, looking around and pacing, trying to trace the bazooka shot. They pass near a trash can. No way he actually hid in the trash. One of them hears movement and goes to check, and in an instant, our guy appears, grabs his neck, and slams his face into the ground. So he used that face cover gear that boosted the invisibility from the cloak, so the man could not even see him. And now, while the gang runs around, searching for him, he sneaks into the main building, through the secret entrance that leads to their back rooms. The best play is avoiding a fight, since there are too many enemies, and he knows it is on the 5th floor, where they keep captives, while they torture them, which is annoying for him, since he must keep stealth running the whole time. But just when he thought he was safe, slipping past the guards, the alarm blares, warning an intruder entered the building. All gang members are ordered to rush to that spot. Kim's stealth plan is ruined. Running is not an option. He would collide with the reinforcements. He could take the outside stairs, but that would put him right in front of a barricade of shooters. The moment he opens that door, he could get shredded by bullets. There is only one answer. In a situation like that, he pulls out a minigun, opens the door and mows them down, throwing out a nice to meet you before they can react. Bullets tear through the room. Some try to fire back, but at the same time, he has already tossed a grenade. This whole mission is pure military. Where is the mountain smashing sword technique now? 1 second it is fantasy RPG. Next second it is a shooter lobby. What is happening here? and he has already pulled out more grenades. Not just 3. He throws like 10 in every direction. The whole room detonates. While he says enjoy the present. Later he walks in. And of course everyone is dead. Or so he thought. One guy faking it suddenly rises and fires. Kim meets the bullet and barely slips it. And right then he gains the sensitivity trait. Finally he got what he needed. To handle crowds at once. The survivor begs for mercy. But a second later he drops too. One shot to the head, first floor cleared. Time to head upstairs again. And the real danger starts now. From the 4th floor onward. He finds more and more enemies. And the boss should be at the top. But then something feels wrong. He turns into a hallway. That should be full of people. But it is completely empty. He checks a bedroom, also empty. He keeps searching until he gains focus. The instant it triggers, he hears something above. Not hard when it is a drone. Last time I heard one. I looked up, and it felt like it was as loud as the sun. Louder than a mosquito by your ear. And yo, if you thought only our guy plays shooters, you were wrong. The drone drops a flashbang. Our guy gets blinded and then someone appears right beside him. It is the Dagger Guild, coming with their signature move, to stab him in the back. The strike aims for his neck. And I thought, the boss says the little rat is dead. Yeah, sure. If I moved the screen 1 pixel, I would have seen it was the Dagger Gang leader, a level 2 superhuman. But Kim activated Mana Shield, right as the hit landed. And now he asks, what happened to things being over Snake Tongue? The boss looks confused, not understanding how he blocked it. As he pulls back, our guy says, he found a rat-dressed bastard. That drone plus flashbang setup is a famous tactic in the game. So he knew exactly what to do. It is a common pattern. The moment he saw the flashbang drop, he turned on Mana Shield and stacked protection on his back. The boss asks how he survived that ambush. And our guy says do not be shocked, because this is only the beginning. And now, he will regret putting a target on him. Our warrior Kim charges forward, swings for a cut, but the dagger man slips away, vanishing while saying, Kim is trying too hard to look cool. For someone so slow. He throws a dagger with green aura, but our guy knocks it aside. Kim is impressed even with 2 detection skills. It is hard to track the attacks. And clearly, every dagger is coated in magic poison. The dagger boss thinks it is dumb luck, telling the kid to buy a lottery ticket. But if he surrenders now, he might still earn mercy. Kim tells him to quit the nonsense and come at him already. The guy says Kim must be a shooter, based on how stupid he looks with that sword. Like, how can a wanted gunman win? In close combat, Kim is stunned. That might be the worst insult ever. Imagine being so bad with a blade. They assume you are a gunner. But he knows that is the idea. Because Kim showed up with bazookas like a shooter game. Then the dagger boss attacks again. Swearing his death will hurt. He goes for a cut while Kim brings the sword down from above. He dodges, but it looks like part of Kim's plan. The dagger guy says Kim is too slow. But Kim twists the blade down and redirects the cut at his face. Looks like some kind of skill. Maybe that fast / combo. And the guy cannot process it. Because Kim was meant to be a shooter. But that lizard bastard dodges everything. He crouches and counters elsewhere. But now Kim is wrapped in aura. With the mountain smashing sword. Plus strength and combo traits active. And he says since he swapped traits, he is not a shooter anymore. Then bam. A clean hit to the shoulder with the mountain technique. The guy screams in pain. I thought he lost his arm. But no, he just puked up lunch. Then Kim rests the sword on his shoulder. And says, drop your guard and you always lose. But the other guy is not finished. He throws another poison dagger, saying it is not over. Kim respects the persistence. Blood splatters across the wall. And the dagger guy finally drops. So Kim really killed someone. I was starting to think he was a messiah, forgiving everyone except, I forgot. He blew up a bunch of extras with grenades, so yeah, nobody mourns those poor souls. That is how this world works. Right, folks? Right. The issue now is he got stabbed in the ribs. Even dying, the bastard still caused trouble, and the moment Kim touched the body, the poison started spreading. He instantly swaps his traits into recovery and regeneration, and whatever else helps. He channels mana into the wound, trying to dull the pain. It was bearable. He could endure it even though it hurt. But before he can breathe, someone outside is already shouting at him, saying they know he is inside. More and more people are coming, so he cannot waste time in that building. Meanwhile, on the 5th floor with the bald guy, he is thrashing around, and finally drops to the floor. With his little finger he grabs glass, and starts cutting at the rope. Then our guy arrives, asking how he got caught so easily. The old man, teary-eyed, thanks him for coming so far to save him, but our guy tells him to stop that, and run faster since people are coming. The problem is, the old man is completely wrecked, barely able to walk, and Kim feels for him, but there is no one left to punish, since he already killed the boss. So he tells him to climb on his back. But the old man is confused, saying he does not feel up to it. Our guy warns if he does not get on, he will get cut down, because they need to leave fast. Walking with him, Kim is impressed. Even though they barely knew each other, the man stayed loyal and said nothing about him. He thought this world was a pit, with no decent people, but a few still surprised him. Back at the man's company, that trick with the potion was wild. That was new to me, and finally, after hours of suffering from the poison and healing up, he gains poison resistance. The boss tells him not to worry. If he needs more potions, just ask. Our guy says he is fine. After all, he already gained a new trait. Then, the old man says he does not know how to repay him. He explains the boy's info leaked while he was preparing the nectar. He should not have trusted even his staff. Our guy says it is fine. Besides, he already drank the nectar. The boss is shocked, since he said he would upgrade the item. But Kim says this world is too dangerous, and if he did not drink it, the boss would be dead, because he would not be strong enough to save him. The boss looks crushed, thinking the kid drank it just for him, while Kim is like, poor guy, he has no idea. I was drinking it either way. Then someone starts pounding on the door. The bald man wonders if the dagger punks will ever stop coming. He asks what they should do, but Kim says let them in. When he opens the door, he is surprised. It is the Iron Fist gang and their ammo belt leader. Our guy welcomes them, and the boss says right away, it is insane, he wiped out the whole gang, so he is not some normal kid. Navi asks why he was called. Kim thinks he called him because it is time to claim payment for clearing that brutal dungeon. The Iron Fist gang and the Dagger gang were enemies, so wiping out one side means he helped the other. In the game, later on you end up getting this exact kind of quest, so yeah. He is basically collecting a future reward ahead of time. And the best part is that reward is usually really solid. The boss asks if he is thinking about building his own organization, but our boy says no chance. That kind of admin work is not for him. Instead, he came to tell the Iron Fist boss he can claim all the territory that the Dagger gang used to run. Our boy is acting like the humblest guy alive, saying this is payback for when the boss let him leave alive, thanks to their partnership with the boss. The poor guy bites the hook like a fish, saying the kid really does owe him one. But even he admits this payment is a bit too much. Our boy does not even try to hide it, and says they are thinking the same thing. He tells the boss to remember, it is because of him that the boss is gaining a massive area, so maybe he should get something back for it. The boss already caught the hint, and tells him to say it plainly. And what our boy wants is what every honest worker wants, to a house under his name. He is tired of sleeping at that hotel, where someone attacks him every other night. The gang boss, though, looks a little thrown off by the request. Our boy explains. He plans to turn the house into a fully secured base. Then he adds a bit of drama, saying that fight with the Dagger Gang nearly killed him. The boss coughs and agrees. He did erase those bastards. So the deal is settled. Our boy grins, saying he likes how direct the boss is. Then the boss asks what kind of house he wants. A luxury apartment, a whole building, maybe a gated community. But our boy says he only wants a normal house on a regular street, as long as he can install solid security, make everything bulletproof. And most importantly, it has to include a basement training area. The boss stands there thinking and hesitating, but our boy is getting impatient. He already knows the exact house he wants, and he knows the boss knows it too. The boss finally says he knows one, pretty isolated out in the cell and region, right? Then our boy puts on a friendly little smile, like, oh, that sounds like a good spot. But inside he is thinking that is the one. You bastard. That place sits near the top of a higher tier region, and in the game, it is the first base players ever get. He knows it inside out. He knows what upgrades work there, where to place protection, how to lock it down, all of it. Next scene, he is out there sunbathing, still wearing the same clothes from day one. My guy Warrior Kim, please take a shower, man. But he is celebrating on the balcony, saying, this rich life is unreal. When he first got dropped into this game, stuck in that tiny room, he had no clue what to do, and that hospital bill was 20 million. What kind of nightmare was that? Now he has a house that feels like a palace. He has money, he has security. For once life is looking good. But deep down our king knows he will not have long to enjoy this win. Once the main plot starts moving, that damn saint is going to snap. She could totally turn into a Yandere, falling for him and obsessing over him. That would make things way more fun. Simon author, throw us a bone just this once. But Kim is more focused on one thing. She is a brutal villain, and she wants to wreck the city. So he grabs a pickaxe and says, time to unlock what makes this house priceless. Down in the training room, he starts pounding on a wall. Once the sound turns hollow, he swings the pickaxe like it is Minecraft, or honestly it only took one hit, and the wall was already crumbling. Turns out it is easier than he expected, but even with each swing carving a crater, the space felt endless and he was exhausted. Still the bastard refuses to stop and keeps going, until water finally starts seeping up from below. He opens his mouth wide, sticking out that huge tongue to catch some water, and starts recovering, but that was not normal water. It was a mana spring. Even someone at 0 HP could recover in it, and even the worst debuffs would disappear. Only a player would know. There is a mana spring hidden in this house, which makes the place far more valuable. It took more effort than it did in the game. But the bastard even set a bathtub under the spring. After soaking for a short time, his body is already flooded with healing effects, and the advantage is obvious. He can train in that room, rest in the spring, and level up faster than anyone else. Now it is time to show how a free-to-play made it into the top 10 rankings. Our boy is seriously fired up. He trained there for 2 full weeks, never leaving the house, of course. It is a scripted character the author wrote. 2 weeks of training and I am like, wow. He is incredible anyway. Moving on, our boy is now radiating that black aura from the divine fever, while also lighting a blue aura on his sword. He is glowing like a Christmas tree. He tosses the sword up and boom. Combo time, obviously. He has been drilling every skill he unlocked, including that mountain smashing sword technique. Looks like he learned plenty already, with wild names like Mountain Destroyer and Mountain Piercer, but really, it is just a downward slash and a thrust. That is all. The key point is the bastard is locked in, because he mastered all that. And he also mastered the Black Flame. Now he is chaining traits into combos that make him built for battle. That is the start of his full training phase. Now, it was time to obtain mana cultivation techniques, something that sadly could not be earned by pure hard work. And if he had refined that nectar earlier, he likely would have jumped to superhuman. Level 3. And that is why there is still some mana floating around inside his body. To fully absorb it and claim all the mana that the nectar could have given him, he needed a mana cultivation technique. And like everything in this cursed world, costs billions and billions. If you walked into an antique shop, and the old guy asked if you really wanted it, saying it sat there for over a decade. But wait, hold on, he already bought it. I am making it dramatic. But he already did it. Forget it, guys. I completely blanked out. He bought it back when he played on his phone. As usual, this antique store stays low-key. Almost nobody even knows. A technique like that is sold there. But when he reaches the storefront, he finds a money barrier up, and the place is fully sealed. A sign says the shop will stay closed until the markets in Sin 1 stabilize. Our boy is confused. In the game, that place was always open. So why is it shut now? And when he looks around, this area that used to be packed is basically deserted. Nothing is open. Looks like Arcane Soul is shifting away from what he knew. He walks around and spots a man sitting there, smoking a small cigarette. He asks how things have been lately. The old man says it is obvious. Everyone here is shutting down and going broke. With gangs fighting every day, customers stopped coming, and the whole territory became a wreck. Kim asks what is happening. This should be Iron Fist territory. The man says that gang is trash. Ever since the Dagger Gang vanished, other gangs started battling for the area. Looks like the Poison Gang has been hitting them, and the Naked Gang too. That second one terrifies me. My monetization is suffering. Kim is a bit lost, but he is starting to get it. In the game quest, you help the Iron Fist Gang take over the entire region, but this time it changed. He won alone and only gave them a small area. Normally, the whole zone would be under their control, and nobody would challenge them. But now, instead of total control, it has become pure chaos. While he wonders what to do, he hears guys yelling, telling them to take those idiots out now. He knows it is another gang clash. Somewhere on the street, people are getting slammed into walls. The boot lady tells them, this corner belongs to the Poison Gang. Or rather, it is the girl in boots, ordering the Iron Fist punks to crawl back to their tiny corner. She is Scorpion, the Poison Gang second in command. A guy is about to speak when someone nearby asks, what is this chaos in their territory? And damn, it is the Naked Gang. This is horrifying. What a disaster. We need the protagonist to show up and end this fast. I am with Scorpion on this, saying, these weird perverts came out of nowhere. But the chubby exhibitionist says this spot belongs to the Naked Gang. The two start bickering, and it looks like a fight is about to start. Then someone walks past the man on the ground. It is our boy showing up saying, this place is a mess right now. He tells the guy on the ground to stand up. It is time to get back to work. Then our boy calls both little gangsters worthless trash and says, get over here, I have something to tell you. The guy beside him looks confused, but Kim tells him to shut up and follow orders. That is when Scorpion says, he must be insane if he thinks he can command her like that. Meanwhile, the chubby guy asks if he has an offer to propose. Our boy scans the crowd and sees a bunch of locals, worried their shops will get destroyed again. So to stop the fight, he draws his sword and ignites the flame aura, mountain slaying sword technique. All at once, and the two clowns about to brawl freeze wide-eyed as the chubby guy instantly realizes he must be the superhuman who wiped out the Dagger Gang by himself. Kim says yeah, looks like he got recognized fast, and he feels generous today, so he will let them both walk away before anything erupts. But if they refuse to leave, Then it becomes a fight, and the winner takes control of the market. Scorpion, though, says she is not dumb enough for a 1v1 against a warrior-class fighter. But our boy is fearless. He says he will fight her in any class she chooses. Later the three of them are talking. Looks like Kim has to fight the chubby guy, who is blushing hard, saying he must resist mental attacks. And this fight is honestly terrifying. And the big guy says, "It is an honor to strike such a beautiful boy." They even invite him to join their guild, saying he can worship the primordial goddess. Who is that? Introduce her to us, chubby. Our boy, though, thinks they are a pack of creeps, and asks why he would join that. Then he tells the guy to wake up. His religion is not even in the top 7. Basically nobody in the city knows it. The chubby guy looks crushed. He says fine. He will convert the non-believer. When this ends, Kim will be a worshipper, begging his goddess for forgiveness. He activates green energy and orders Kim to kneel. Kim stands still, trying to resist. His body really does want to kneel somehow, but he refuses to give in. He keeps resisting, and right before he drops, bam, he punches the guy straight in the face. The big man crashes down. And honestly, Kim was never losing, with divine resistance on. And that is it. The naked gang gets dragged off. He turns to Scorpion, who says he is not bad, but she warns him. Her gang is not like those perverts. Kim tells her to hurry up and stop stalling. He knows her specialty is brewing poison, and she probably wants him to drink something, to see if he survives it. She sticks out her long tongue. Seriously, what is with all these long tongue characters in this story? She says if he wants to die that badly, she will help him. The guy on Kim's back tells him to stop. Drinking her poison is insane. It is basically a death sentence. But Kim, he has poison resistance. There is no way that kills him. She brings out a cup with a skull on it, and says if he survives, she will leave. Kim recognizes it instantly. It is called the picnic killer. Their poison that causes the most pain. He says he will drink that nasty stuff. But if he lives, she is still taking a punch to the face. She says fine. She cannot wait to watch him beg forgiveness. After one sip, he gulps it down and apologizes, saying sadly, that will not happen. But the mental shock hits harder than he expected. He drops to the ground, and his head starts turning purple. The long-tongued woman steps in and starts stomping him, saying he will regret all that trash talk. If he begs, she will let him crawl away alive. Kim fights to keep focus. In that moment, he equips every trait possible to boost his resistance. But this poison is a special type, mixed with healing, a toxic healing blend. So poison resistance alone is not enough. While resisting the toxin, he also has to apply real healing to recover. He is their eyes half shut, totally drained, concentrating the poison into his hand. The long-tongued woman cannot believe it. He is actually tracking the essence inside his own body, and then he gains a new trait, drug resistance. Alright, he did not have resistance before. He only had drug addiction, right? Turns out he was the crack Olympia poster boy. After packing that junk into his hand, he slices his hand with the sword, and the poison starts draining out. The suit guy and the tongue lady look stunned, saying this cannot be real. How can anyone control poison that is already inside their body? But Kim already grabs her hand and says, now it is my turn. Wait, is he snapping her middle finger? Okay, I thought he tore it off. But she did not have a real finger there. He just yanked off the prosthetic. She asks if he really thinks he can get away with that. But he tells the loser to stop whining and get out before she can respond. Her teammates drag her away, telling her not to mess with him. And just like that, the Iron Fist crew starts celebrating, calling our boy a hero. But honestly, he did not come here to be a hero. He looks over and sees local shopkeepers watching. Iron Fist win, and now they are worried. They will suffer under new management. He turns to the man beside him and asks if he admits our boy handled this. The man says absolutely. He did it all solo. Kim then lays down a rule. For Iron Fist to manage this area, the protection fee must be half what the Dagger Gang charged. The suit guy is confused, saying if they charge so little, they will not even cover payroll. But Kim asks if he is trying to oppose him. The man backs down instantly. No way, I am sure the boss will accept that. The merchants start shouting, thrilled that they will pay half. Look at the size of that bastard's ears. Who said that loud enough for everyone? Kim turns back like nothing happened, saying it is for the good of the citizens. But inside his expression is totally different. The slick dog is using that reputation to score discounts at every shop. And the old man in the back is the first to speak up. My store gives 80% off. Kim's plan worked perfectly. Now he has a whole district to shop for items. The next day, at the antique store that was closed before, the shopkeeper welcomes him with a big smile, saying he heard a lot about our boy from the other merchants. He is the hero who saved the area. Our boy says he is not that special. He just did what was right. But the old man says it was more than that. His arm got wrecked from the gang fights and all the destruction outside. Our boy asks if he got treatment, and the man says yeah. He received the best care the hospital had. He almost lost the arm for good, but luckily a Qigong therapist helped. Kim has no clue what that is, but it sounds rare and he is surprised someone like that would be in a place like this. The old man asks if he wants to meet him. Kim says yes, but first, there is something he wants to buy. The old man says he will sell anything he wants, except what he does not have. Yeah, fair enough. That actually tracks, but our boy says he can see a lot of interesting things in the shop. Then he stomps the floor a few times and says he wants to see what is downstairs. The old man asks how he knows that secret. Our boy says he has his own ways. His ways, of course, meaning 10,000 hours of gameplay. As he walks into the restricted room, the old man says he only allows it because he saved the street. Inside shelves were lined with much rarer items, and the man says Kim is free to check out anything he wants. Our guy remembers from Game Man. This spot was ideal for shopping, for all sorts of rare items. But the real target is right there. The trumpet of the ancient god. It is basically an item that holds the mana cultivation technique. Once the key part is secured, it was time to collect the rest. Anything that could help later on. He already had the trumpet, plus some glasses and some diamonds, and a glove on the counter, saying these are his picks. The old man brings out a calculator, then says the total is 2 billion. Our guy freezes, he cannot afford that. The old man says that is the rate. For anyone not hailed as the street savior, for him it drops to 500 million. Yeah, you sly dog. Kim has a whole Minecraft house worth of money on him, and that crafty guy knew it. Higher NPC favorability means bigger discounts. The better they like you, the less you pay. Now he just needed to locate a priest who could break holy seals. So he asked the shopkeeper for the address of that Qigong therapist. Next scene elsewhere in the city. He knocks on door 101, asking if anyone is inside. No one replies, so he presses his ear to listen. And right then the door swings open, straight into his face. When Kim sees the white hair and worn face, he knows this is the one he needs. The guy says he showed up too early, which feels strange since the sun is setting. The guy tells him to say what he wants. Kim says he wants his healing skill. The guy perks up saying, oh, if you are a client, perfect. I thought you were one of those gangsters. Inside the room, nothing looks off except a massive statue. With that thing present, Kim at least feels more sure about who this really is. The kid tells him to lie on the machine so they can begin treatment. But Kim says he is not here for that. He is here about an item. He pulls out the large horn and asks him to break the seal. The guy looks confused, saying he has never done that. He refuses, saying Kim should ask someone who specializes in that work. But our guy explains, everyone here is dishonest. They would overcharge, or just steal the item, and neither is acceptable. So he says if the kid breaks the seal, he will pay 100 million. He calls him Priest Kim, and the kid is shocked, asking how he knows. This is the third tutorial character, a priest of an unknown faith, worshipping a being that died 3,000 years ago. Ukase is one of the few truly innocent people in the whole game. Between the naked gang pervs and that robber girl, it is obvious that with faith, people here lack basic common sense. The guy already wears that wild smile, saying, someone like Kim can be useful in many ways. But Kim asks why he works as a Qigong therapist, instead of acting as a real priest. He just tells him to take the horn and keep it secret. The boy agrees but warns it will be hard, since he lacks experience. Soon they both sit on the floor, and the guy begins channeling mana into it. The protective paper around the item starts to stir, and the kid says somehow it is easier than he expected. Seconds later the seal breaks. Hey, that was actually pretty simple, and just as our guy predicted, it grants the mana cultivation trait. The kid is stunned, and Kim says he trusted his ability. The boy then recognizes it as mana cultivation, but Kim tells him not to dwell on it. Before anything else happens, he already triggers it to receive the technique. The mana still in his body starts getting absorbed. Now he just keeps absorbing mana, and in 2 to 3 weeks, he will reach superhuman level 3. The kid claps with excitement, saying he has never seen a warrior learn a technique like this. Our guy sits down and says he knows this is not something common, but now he is drained, since the technique taxes his body hard, so he will rest here a bit. The kid just smiles and says for that payment, he can rest as long as he wants. Our guy falls asleep in total peace. That crazy kid is as kind as in the game, worth building a friendship with, someone that reliable. It will pay off in the long run. Later he wakes to a strange sound. He stands up to check, and spots a briefcase of cash, with someone pouring gasoline on it. Of course it is that crazy kid. Kim asks what the hell he is doing, but the boy sets the can down, and starts praying to the forgotten god, asking him to accept the offering, and be resurrected as he tosses a lighter, and our guy panics. He cannot understand this lunatic at all. But before it lands, Kim grabs his hand and snatches it, then throws him to the floor, demanding what kind of cursed offering this is. Burning money, the kid says yeah. Obviously, you have to burn it to offer it to his god. Kim does not get it. The boy says his god only values money. That is the only path to divine power. Kim seems to know a little already, and he thinks, this lunatic still buys that nonsense. The god he serves died 3,000 years ago. Even when Kim played on his phone, that god had no power left, until this priest kid somehow revived him. But it seems, the kid does not even know what his god wants. So Kim tells him his method is wrong. He should not burn money. He should burn and vaporize gold. The boy thinks Kim is lying, calling it heresy, but Kim says try it before arguing. The boy says it makes no sense. The method he uses has existed for thousands of years. Kim replies, well, if it worked that well, your god would be back already. The kid flinches at that. Kim says melting gold is hard right now, but he has an idea to make it work. Since the kid unlocked mana cultivation for him, he returns the favor. Wait, what? He said melting gold was hard. But now a bright golden pot is here, and the kid says they should stop. But Kim tells him to comply. Once he drinks a sip of that gold, his power will rise a lot. All he must do is drink, and feel how his body reacts. Okay, but for real, what even is that liquid, because gold needs extreme heat to melt? Yet this nut job takes a sip anyway. Right away he feels a change. He drops to hands and knees, and a golden aura wraps his body. The protagonist asks how it feels, and the kid gets emotional, saying it finally feels real. This result beats burning millions worth of gold, and he cannot thank Kim enough for such priceless guidance. Then he gets an idea and offers a necklace. Kim, being the sly dog, asks what it is, though he knows it is an artifact with a healing ability. The kid says his god will be pleased if Kim accepts it. Looking shy, he accepts while thinking what an idiot. Walked right into the plan. Then he recalls this faction gives out tons of great quests. He grabs the boy's hands and says he is ready to pray to that generous god. 1 week later, back at his house. Looks like they really are melting gold. But the poor friend is drained from having to keep drinking gold. Man, I wish this guy had a name. His real name is Priest Kim, but our lead is Warrior Kim. So we cannot just say Kim. Let us call him Adrian. It works for me. And our guy tries giving Adrian more mana potions, but Adrian says he cannot grow too fast, or he could be corrupted. Kim instead makes a cute face and says, that means it will not happen. Then he grips Adrian's face and forces more melted gold down. He knows it cannot affect him, because he has a trait blocking all mana. Corruption at last. The bottles run dry, and suddenly Adrian starts glowing gold. Our guy has to cover his face from the blinding light, and then he awakens as a level 3 bishop. He is stunned at level 3. He could even gain an apostle. Kim praises him, saying he is close to becoming an apostle of that religion's god. Adrian, embarrassed, says he is not strong yet. Then Kim says he must visit a regional convent assembly to be officially recognized as bishop. Adrian thanks him, saying it is all because of Kim. He will never forget this debt. And Kim, of course, says he did it for friendship. But inside, he plans to use him for rewards. Items unlock everything. Adrian feels unsure and asks Kim to come as bodyguard. Kim says sure, do not worry. He agrees because this is the next part of the main story, and he is strong enough now. Next day they reach a church being built, basically abandoned. Some of Adrian's friends congratulate him, saying it is crazy he hit level 3. Our guy is quietly shocked. This church is broke, and barely anyone showed up. Then someone bursts in and says, this whole thing is disgraceful. A bishop from the order arrives just to scold them, asking who let Adrian organize an assembly. Confused Adrian says any member can organize one, but the old man says that rule skips him, because he is an apostate. I looked it up. An apostate is someone who betrays or abandons their religion, and he claims that because Adrian hit level 3 in 3 months, which normal methods cannot do. Adrian tries to defend himself, saying he found an efficient path to level up, but the old man orders his arrest, saying he will hear no excuses. Good thing he asked our guy for backup. Kim steps up and says they cannot hurt his friend like this. They ask who he is, and he answers, I am his bodyguard. The old man says it is best if Kim stays out of order business. But Kim replies that, as Adrian's bodyguard, he is involved in all of it. Then Adrian admits he drank gold, and asks them to trust him. But the old man says that breaks the faith. The kid says in his faith, gold is allowed. But the old man is already forming a fireball, saying he will purify the sin Adrian has committed. The fire blasts at the kid. Boom. An explosion erupts and everyone is stunned, but our guy Kim stepped in, shielding him with a barrier. He says attacking without warning is the real blasphemy. The old man is stunned that the bodyguard blocked his strike, and Kim adds that you cannot attack an apostle candidate like that. The old man yells that Adrian can never be a true apostle there. Even Adrian hesitates. He is shaken. But Kim picks up a small piece of gold, hands it over and tells him eat it and pray. The old man shouts again, telling Kim to move, or burn with the boy, but our lead calmly asks, what will you do, if he proves he is a real apostle? Before the old man answers, Adrian is already glowing, golden light spilling from him. That glow is the true sign of an apostle. Turns out, Kim did not hand that gold over by chance, because that old man is incompetent and jealous. He hates Adrian, so he tries to erase him by labeling him a heretic, then purging him on the spot. But for Adrian to awaken as apostle, he had to eat gold from another order. Even if they call it blasphemy, no one can deny what he is becoming. When Adrian opens his eyes, man, he has an angelic halo, golden eyes, the full package. Kim aims his sword at the crowd and says, now you are looking at a real apostle, and it is time to teach a lesson to everyone who opposed him. Our guy asks what punishment fits. Someone who tried to assassinate a fellow bishop, out of pure envy and worse, called him a heretic. Adrian stands there not sure what to say. And man, apparently, he spoke with the God of that faith, who ordered him killed. In 1 second, Kim already holds the blade at his neck, saying if it is divine command, there is no refusing it. So did he really kill him? What the hell, yeah. He is down for good. The warriors could not react, while the other priests hold their faces. In shock, Kim, meanwhile, smiles wide. He removed the villain before the violence could start and ruin his life. Adrian says this feels wrong, since the man died while still a bishop. Our guy tells him not to worry and asks what his God wants next. That is an easy life, huh? Just ask, hey God, what do I do? And God says, do this, all right. No problem, help me too. I want that kind of deal. And Adrian says, his God told him to go to the Levant region, where the First Order began, and offer more gold. Our guy says, just like he warned, gold is the answer now. He should have followed the advice and grown his influence. Adrian thanks him with joy. Our guy wears that grin. He just made a little monster, now leading the order, and he will keep offering piles of gold to get insanely strong. Then Adrian says before he leaves, he wants to give a gift from the warehouse. Our guy smiles and says, he does not need that. It is too much, but later. But there it is, a glowing statue, and the sword looks empowered. Turns out it is a sacred sword. I thought it was a normal buff sword. But no, it is a special church weapon, worth a few billion.
Plus sa divine statue.
That grants sanctuary status nearby. The sanctuary is a barrier over an area that follows the owner's will. If he wants intruders out, he can suppress them or eject them from the zone. That is perfect for him, since he can train in peace without fearing exhaustion or someone catching him worn out. At last he could get back to enjoying himself. He was already in the bathroom, man. He put together an underground home. It resembles a Tony Stark-style mansion, but the artist went way too far. Now he looks super thin, saying he trained more than he should have. Even with support from the sacred spring, he still could not stay at full strength. But the moment he gets there, his face shifts. Right, man. Straight up Giga Chad with that black energy sphere, testing it like he is Gojo. His mana control and sword skill kept climbing, so it was time to check what all that grind produced. He texted that guy from the job, saying he needed a warm-up and to move a little. So he asked if there was any request the guy needed handled. The guy says yes, and it is a huge one. Because yeah, it is going to involve again that site where it all started. Our guy instantly knows what place he means. The spot where that strange porcupine appeared, and he says he will never forget it. Then the old man says a full team went in to clean it up, and none of them returned, meaning there are at least 6 mutants. All at the same time. Kim says of course. Whether he goes depends on the payment. The old man admits sadly, the reward is not that great. 100 crew level 1 mutant and 300 crew level 3 mutant. Or he could take an arcane rifle. But it comes with a debuff. The protagonist asks what that debuff is. And the guy says, it is a debuff from that damn Amanda Saint. And instantly the bastard wants it on the spot. He knows that debuff is the one that puts that sacred divine fire on you, but he already beat it, so it is no issue at all. And out of nowhere, the bastard packs on like 70 kilos of muscle and says, fine, he is in. From the stadium a dark aura was spilling out, and our boy, after all that training, walks in holding an M4. Where is the sword man? He is in there pinching his nose. Man, this M4 is thick, right? It looks like a balloon ribbon. He tries to use his sensitivity and focus traits, but it is hard to pinpoint anything. And with smoke everywhere, he could make out shapes moving past. Monster noises came from every direction, but he could not tell the source. Then he senses something closing in behind him. As he spins around, a massive bat dives in to strike. And he opens up. Listen to that rifle sound, man. He tears into the big one and it flees like crazy. But our boy has aimbot and clips the wings. Tags the back, tags everything. Damn, but that bastard over there has bulletproof wings. That monster is built modern. And now it charges back for another run.
Kim bareli dodges.
But it leaves a purple trail. And it is already looping back again. The flying, bulletproof monster planned to drag this out, so he had to end it fast. I figured that meant he would swap to the sword. But there he is still lining up shots. He needed one clean hit. Dropping a headshot like that. Share those sensitivity settings, man. The issue is the monster dies and dies. And falls right on him. But he really did unlock that aimbot trait, man. He stays pinned and still celebrates. Already calling it a win. Saying it paid off. But there were 6 mutants. And the smoke was still spreading. If the first one was that tough, he already knows. He cannot take them all at once. Then his face suddenly shifts. And he says maybe he actually can. Time passes and he is there. Fully hidden, watching the body. Using playing dead and stealth. He was hard to notice. Then a zombie, more like a huge slime, appears staring at the dead bat. And here comes this modern bastard. Rolling in with hand grenades, man. And the grenades were even invisible. Tossed straight at the monster. And of course, everything blows up right in front of it. The king of Call of Duty already has his M4 out, and he lets it rip, man. Yeah, those poor slimes. They get shredded apart and drop everywhere. And he steps up saying, these modern methods are seriously good. But that is just the surface look. Around him more zombies were already there. And the weird part is they made no sound. Closing in. So he ends up trapped among them. Then he realizes those were not mutants. They were specters controlled by a necromancer. Some Jin Wu energy in here. My guy, and the problem is, there were loads of them, and strangely, one corpse had a speaker strapped on its back, and it calls out to the superhuman, asking for a short talk. Kim is confused, like, why is a specter speaking? Then he notices, there is a speaker. So they are using it to talk to him. Meaning the voice is the necromancer who made the specters. And he says he wants to know why Kim is wrecking things in his territory. Kim is thrown off. Why is this lunatic calling a contaminated factory his territory? Then he remembers something. This bastard has selective amnesia. All it takes is one clue, and the memories rush right back. Then he brings up the janitor association, with those 2 tough women behind him. I am already fired up to meet that group. Because when it comes to real friends, this story is seriously short on them. On the surface, people think this janitor crew is ideal for cleanup work in places heavily contaminated by mana, but that is just cover. They use their influence to spread the dirty power they hold. Most likely that case where 6 people died, they were behind all of it. They likely forced events to create something the government could not avoid, but asking for their help, so their power would expand even more. The necromancer on the radio says, "Our boy is seriously gifted, since he does not forget this useless fight," and ends up joining the janitor group. Kim stays real, and asks why he would ever join a group that wants to mutate everyone and ruin this whole place. The guy tells him to think it over, saying with his skill set, he would rank among the strongest. But nope, take that middle finger, kid. Kim says that place is not his vibe. They are not cool enough. The guy says fine then. If he will not join, then he will become a corpse. The mobs rush straight at him. But our boy has aimbot now, man. It is mags and grenades. And the area is clear. The guy even says come in. Nice and slow, there is plenty of ammo. But damn, he is going to need a mountain of ammo, because the monsters keep regenerating. The idiot forgot that in this game, guns do nothing against specters. But what fits perfectly right now is a sacred sword, which he just happened to have picked up. The poor necromancer already knows he is cooked, and asks where he got that. But without answering, Kim starts carving through everything, and warns that soon they will find the one summoning them, and that person will die. Specters drop left and right under his blade. With the stack of traits our boy has, creatures like these are easy work. The issue is, it will not end while the guy has mana. So he turns on all his resistance and durability traits. Look at the little beast fully geared up. He gets healing from that necklace. He has the sacred sword, plus a magic glove, and with that, he rushes in again, landing for quick strikes, then gets held up a moment, and realizes even though he is killing fine, he cannot erase them all in one sweep. He keeps fighting and starts to feel dizzy. Even with all that recovery, his stamina was draining fast. So he decides to finish this for good, and charges in at full speed, unlocking the dash trait. It looks solid based on that excited face. Man. He starts spamming dash side to side nonstop, cutting everything, and when he dashes upward, he ends up unlocking the jump trait. With that, he is pumped because escaping will be easy now. The guy is floating around jump dash, carving straight through everything. But it clearly had a cost. And soon after he is exhausted. At least, most of the specters are down now. The head on the ground says, he never expected the boy to be a paladin of the order. Now he is even more curious who he really is. Kim tells him to come out. He is ready to meet him. The specter is not stupid, and says he will not face a warrior head-on. He will keep playing with summons until Kim's mana runs out, then he leaves. With that, he summons a level 2 corpse shield bearer. The problem for Kim is he had almost no time to recover, and his mana is still low. The creature swings a hammer, and Kim slips to the side. Then a purple arrow comes. Bam, it hits the back of his neck. He realizes it is a coordinated strike, and the necromancer on the ground says he is impressed, that his footwork is pretty good. He will make a fine corpse. He thought that arrow would do more, but our boy just yanks it from his neck, and keeps moving like nothing happened, while remembering the rule in Arcane Soul was, if you fight a necromancer, you do not fight the summons. Funny because he says that, then immediately jumps straight at the golem. Yeah, he is the king of bait. He lands up front and slides under its legs. Then he scans around, trying to find where it came from, and catches a flash on the left. There he is, surrounded by the arrows hitting him. And in the same moment he triggers rush. To sprint at him, he spots a long-haired guy, and says yeah, now he is done. One look and our boy recognizes him instantly, an A-rank necromancer named Karen, one of the janitor group directors, and also the final boss for this section. Karen lifts his arms and tells the boy to quit, saying it will not go how he thinks. Then arms like Dr. Octopus in Spider-Man burst out and grab our boy from every side. He cannot move his arms or break position. And Sharon says he will never reach him. Man hands arrows lightning. What is this? And the guy keeps going. He is already shaping a sphere of evil fire, saying he will burn and scream now. But our boy understands clearly. If he keeps eating hits, he will die, especially since black fire is coming. The guy basically made a janky dama and says, this is the end. Kim fights to break free by cutting one of the hands with his sword. But Sharon just laughs like a freak. Then he pauses a second. My boy says he never needed to stand in front of him. Anyway, the scene shows the traits he has equipped. Maybe he will dash in and slash with the sword. Based on the traits, that is how it looks. And Sharon launches the Enkatama, telling him to shut up and die. Seeing it coming, Kim says the moment is here. He reached the perfect trinity. Sword skill, mana capacity, and physical endurance, and when that happens, in a life-threatening situation, he triggers the ability that lets him cut through other abilities. He slashes and Sharon cannot believe it. That was the flash trait for real. Flash is usually a movement trait, but for our guy it became a crescent slash that cut the dude in two. Like Photoshop, and the description says, it is the strongest swordsmanship trait, and only those at the peak can master it. But honestly, that looked like Getsuba Tencho from Bleach. Blasts everywhere across the area. And our boy drops to the ground completely drained, but it was still worth it. He took down a level 3 superhuman. Normally in the game, you need a full party to beat him, and it would be impossible, without the perfect gear, to fight him plus the exact right traits. He stands up knowing this only happened because of his 10,000 hours of gameplay, but now tongue out. It is time for the only thing that matters. Loot and payout back at the company. The boss is even fanning himself, saying the boy is incredible, and that he can always rely on him. What our boy is acting hurt right. There are already 2 goons behind him, and those are clearly the guys here to pay. The team thanks our guy, saying they are impressed. He handled all of it alone. But Kim says save the thanks, and tells them that inside, something totally different went down. He drops a pile of radios and cameras on the floor, and asks if they know what those are. The old man recognizes them instantly. They were used by Sharon from the janitor group, and Kim says exactly. This was not an accident. The janitor group staged it. And the guy slams the table, yelling that those bastards are trash. They always charge insane prices and stir up trouble. But even with past conflicts, he never thought they would turn innocent people into zombies just to get more contracts. Now that is why I called a reliable employee. Man, that guy really wants to work. And Ken realizes the guy knew nothing about any of this. Now it clicks. That is how the janitor group moved, without anyone stopping them. The guy apologizes, saying our boy risked his life because of them, but as usual, he tells him not to stress. It is his job to take down villains. Even if inside, it was brutal and it paid well. Briefcase hits the table, extra reward, just like they promised. Now they hand over a pistol. Earlier they said it would be a rifle, with arcane energy, but fine. I will let it pass. And on the right side there was holy water. It likely gives experience or something similar. Our guy looks pleased. And it was something he would have bought anyway. So this ends up saving him cash. The old man says with the proof he brought. They plan to blame the janitor group. But he must stay cautious. Kim says he knows. They will try to strike back at whoever set this whole thing in motion. But he says do not worry, he will find a way to live. On the way home, the boss tells him to lay low for a bit, since he is about to become a target. But he is fearless and says, hiding is never the best move. Once the player progresses in the game, he starts getting missions to bring down the janitor group. So those clashes are unavoidable. And now that he killed the director, there is no turning back anymore. No matter where he runs, they will hunt him down. The hard part is, there are several routes a player can choose to handle these guys, and clearly, the worst choice is doing nothing and letting them get stronger and more ready. Eventually the president of the organization along with loads of superhumans, will storm the player's home. But he knows another route that is far easier. He then asked the man beside him if he knows a place called Jayambubong. The man says yes. It is a forbidden zone down in the south. Supposedly there is a flower field there, and anyone looking for trouble just goes there. Our guy already says that place is financed by the janitor group, and those poppies they grow there. The flowers are used for body modification experiments and human trafficking schemes too. In the end, if you dig far enough, you will learn they are just a normal crime ring, like any other with zero morals. The boss says those scumbags need to be erased. And our guy says that is exactly why he will hit that place. The driver slams the brakes right away and tells him to explain himself. But our guy already sent a full Call of Duty style item list. As usual, he wants claymores. He wants grenades, he wants bombs. The boss says he must understand that it will cost a fortune. But money is not an issue for him anymore. He hands over the briefcase, saying it holds everything he looted from the last site. The boss says fine. He understands he is truly doing this, but warns him he does not think he can win against that whole base by himself. The president is a level 4 superhuman, and the two toughest women behind him are level 3 executives. Our guy says do not worry. He never said he would fight alone. For now though, the boss only needs to focus on getting everything on the list, and I prefer it like this, ma'am. We jump forward 2 days, and now it is time to invade. Some losers are outside watching the area, when a hand comes from behind and strikes one hard on the back of the neck. He drops to the floor. Another aims and asks who is there, but he takes a hit to the stomach too, and goes down. What is going on? His stealth is basically like being invisible. He was right in front of them, landing hits. He even says breaking in is his favorite part. It is always fun showing up and smacking clueless fools. At least the guards were handled. Now he just had to head toward the underground section. Oh wow. He alerted the Steel Fist gang and called the whole crew in. And the boss says those bastards really are pure villains. They were forcing body modifications on people and selling off the ones who turned out well. They truly deserve to be erased. Kim asks if he checked the location, and the man says yes. He found the room, packed with equipment for modifications. Our guy says if he keeps assisting, he can keep that gear to boost his own crew later. The boss asks if he is really sure he can wipe out the janitor group. If they live, it will be a massive problem for the whole gang. Kim tells him not to worry. He never moves without a plan. In front of all those plants, I already forgot the name. He says that is where they make the most cash. They left it barely guarded. And that is exactly why they are about to start going broke. He set the whole place on fire. And by dawn the sun came up. Someone ran through the halls, calling for the president. He tells the man by the window that the Jayambubong hideout was hit. That bastard really looks like a final boss, and orders him to explain it clearly. The man explains it properly. The Jayambubong hideout was attacked. What more do you want him to say, Gamut? Then the boss slams his fist on the table, demanding to know who it was that dared to strike them like that. That man is Park Daeop. He is the president of the janitor group, a level 4 superhuman. The messenger trembles while handing something over and says the attacker sent this. The guy even posted an Instagram story with everything exploding. Tons of emojis. The boss smashes the phone saying that bastard is asking to be torn apart. When the crew checked the farm condition, they found it completely burned down. They trust the boss too much, thinking the kid must be insane and wants to die. But then the bald guy says, before the president steps in, they need to prove why they serve the janitor group. The crew gets hyped, saying once they see the kid, they will blow his head off. But then they notice a gun is aimed from a window. The bald guy has perfect aim and fires once. and takes out whoever was up there. The others start praising him. But it was never going to be that simple. Suddenly something blows up behind him. What is that? Our guy shows up with an American-style assault, dropping air strikes on everyone. You just see cameras exploding. He is worn out. He spent all night planning this. But it paid off after planting many hidden traps. He even gained a trait that makes them harder to detect. As strong as he is not foolish enough to fight hundreds head-on. First he will kill what he can from the shadows while staying safe. The whole compound is getting wrecked by blasts. Nearby the janitor group boss just watches from inside his barrier, saying the kid may look foolish, but he prepared extremely well, just like you would expect from someone bold enough to provoke them. Then someone steps forward. It is that cyborg who says do not worry. He already analyzed the approach, and he will take care of it. Excuse me, when they first showed the janitor group, there were two gorgeous women behind the boss. Where did they go? Do not come at me with this ugly cyborg. Then the boss says bring the kid in alive. He wants him to suffer before he dies. One of them tosses a grenade ahead and says, it is safe over there. The plan was to keep throwing grenades non-stop, so everything in front gets blown apart. But what he did not realize is this was an American-style assault. More was falling from above. What is this? That cyborg just swatted the missile aside. He asks if they found the guy, and the others say yes. He is on the roof. They blow up the launcher up there, and then they start pushing forward, saying once they get inside, the kid is finished. He is probably shaking with fear. But when they entered, our guy was bored, and as he expected, cyborgs are tougher to deal with than normal people. The alarms are blaring, and he says it feels just like the game. This was one of those missions that wipes out all beginners. Cut to a scene where everything is destroyed, and people arrive off Ellis. I told you the toughest girls were coming. Welcome. Sure, they are villains. But will the protagonist actually kill them? I am sad now. He usually kills villains. And the two are named Ebony and Viper. They call him out looking for fun. Only problem, he is not in the control room now. Or actually, he is there but playing dead in a hiding spot. The fools are hunting him, demanding to know where he is. Oh man. And he already knew their plan. They pretended to go through the front, but they were buying time for the two to slip inside. And now that he read their tactics, it is time to end this. When they glanced aside, the Call of Duty king already threw more than one flashbang. The fools realized they walked into a trap. You could have just cut their throats. Or maybe not, that would be too cruel. Instead he slips right through the middle. The villains are yelling, saying that bastard will die once they catch him. But he is already moving, sprinting up the stairs at insane speed. He knows they will reach him any second. They will not stop, so he must move fast. Bullets are already flying past him, and he switches traits to defense and mana shield. He raises a huge barrier in the hallway, and the toughest girls show up. They fire non-stop at him, but he only smiles, saying those bullets will do nothing. The purple-haired one asks if he truly believes that. Suddenly a bullet starts cracking the barrier. It shatters in an instant. The blast throws him backward, and he crashes to the floor like trash. The girls look vicious, saying every bullet they fire is infused with explosive magic. So he better watch out. The other shoots an arrow, telling him to accept that this is the end. Perfect bullseye. My guy forgot how to dodge. Out of nowhere he drops to his knees. But she tells him not to suffer too much, because the pain next will be far worse. But our guy gives a thumbs up, saying they are just two small thugs in latex suits. I do not get it, and he takes a kick to the face. What is his big plan? He always has some sneaky trick. He slams into the clock, hits the floor like a fool, and one of them steps close, saying it looks like he will last a while. One grabs his collar and says, they are taking him to the president. But then a little smirk appears, and that is when the plan begins. He says they are right where he wanted. Then he asks if they recognize the sound from that clock. In a split second, he activates sprint again and dashes away, saying that sure sounds like a bomb. Clearly the whole time, he let himself get beaten on purpose. He turned off traits to lure them closer, because inside that clock was a bomb that cost him $1 billion. He flashes them a cocky grin. This night will be long. The girls think about running, but without sprint they cannot. The whole floor is erased by the blast. Our guy did not go far, he is nearby. Resting now, he equipped recovery traits, trying to patch himself up a bit. But we are close now, and he needs to stay sharp. Yeah, it was quick. Everyone is already right in front of him, including the boss. Our guy stands and says, "Speak of the devil," and he shows up. Wait. It is not the boss, it is that fake cyborg. And man, our beloved Ebony and Viper just turned into pools of blood. Come on, author. How could you do that? They were the only best girls in the story, and you erased them like that. Now the only hope is for that sink to go full Yandra and fall for our guy. But I honestly doubt that happens. Right then he tells the cyborg that soon they will all end up just like her. The cyborg, true to his name, says the boy will be modified until he begs for mercy. Our guy says that is a brutal threat, but he still wants to stay human. The cyborg says talking is a waste of time, and then everyone draws their weapons. Just as the villains are about to speak again, our guy already set up another device. It was actually several EMPs, the kind that shuts down energy connections, everything electronic, and of course, since everyone there is a cyborg, they were finished. The Call of Duty King immediately starts firing, saying with the EMPs and his shotgun, taking out these robots will be easy. The immobilized ones never stood a chance. They got shredded. But something grabs Kim's attention. That cyborg king is still standing and looks completely unharmed. Kim wonders how much money that bastard spent on his body to be that tough. Then he rushes in, saying it is a shame, but he will end the boy right here. With the first strike, he knocks the shotgun out of Kim's hands. He swings again right after, asking if Kim will keep dodging forever. Realizing he cannot overpower him, the protagonist focuses on agility. He lands a clean hit on the ribs, but it does absolutely no damage. Our guy says it seems the bastard entire body is metal, at least from what he can tell. The cyborg grabs the sword and calls it a dumb move, then powers up boosters in his legs and delivers a massive kick. This one is Genos from One Punch Man, copying the bald master and everything. The problem is our guy gets smashed into the wall and bursts like trash, then gets hit again before he can recover. The cyborg warns him he will not win with that weak body. While getting crushed, he only manages to curse and calls him a filthy machine. Meanwhile, he wonders how a robot is using mana attacks. Then the cyborg extends his blade and says he will rip his arms off and replace them with umbrellas. I do not know if that is a fetish, but that is what he said. That is when Kim pulls out a small pistol, and the cyborg asks what that cute little thing is supposed to do. What he does not know is that pistol came from earlier, with the weapon buff. Kim tells him it is not just any gun. Then he fires using black fire, which hits the blade directly, and in the same moment, the black fire spreads across his body. Kim explains black fire is meant to burn mana, and since the cyborg runs on mana, this was tearing him apart. Now he was paying for it, for turning his whole body into that system. The cyborg writhes on the floor, while Kim raises his sword and says goodbye. Boom. Another one down. He is sparing nobody. Then he turns and says, now only one step remains. Still sad those two well-drawn girls are gone. Right guys, it was short, but it was sweet. And the FPS king heads up to the rooftop, grabs the M4 with a scope, and starts picking off everyone outside. He celebrates with that cute face, saying all that screaming is music to him. But that music does not last long. Now he is clutching his ears like they will burst. Yeah, ma'am. He was probably wondering why the final boss theme was playing. The president of the janitor group, a level 4 superhuman, had arrived and ordered him to stay put. Well, actually, he was still below just talking. But now he already leapt up, landing right in front of him. He is already panicking, because the bastard jumped an entire building. The boss says he has never suffered such humiliation in his life, so the boy will be punished. Before he can even respond, the man is already swinging, and punches him in the face. Kim tries to draw his sword to defend, but the bastard must be testing every wall around. Kim gets slammed into one again. He says he only lived because, the moment he saw the charge, he switched to defense traits in an instant. He throws a Bleach-style slash at him, but the man dodges with ease, then says he has some interesting abilities. Kim is firing the pistol now, meaning yeah, he is desperate and using everything. But the man raises a mana shield, and looks completely unbothered. Before Kim can even think of his next move, he comes again, and lands a full combo to chest and ribs, sending him back to his natural habitat. Face down on the floor getting pummeled. The boss asks if that is all he has. Kim looks defeated, saying it feels impossible. There is no way he beats Park Daop now, who has been an SR-ranked character since the start. He, on the other hand, is one of the most basic types, and the level gap between them is massive. The boss asks if the kid will try anything else, and Kim asks does he not want to know how the subordinates were taken down. They were killed with normal bombs, EMPs and bullets. The boss says he does not care about that. Being prepared for him, though, was impossible. But then a smile appears on Kim's face as he says, "It is not quite like that." The boss expression shifts. Here we go. He activates the mutant talent. Been a while since we saw that one. His whole body starts mutating, muscles swelling and stretching, and now he is red and 2 meters tall. This is his mutant form as a level 2 superhuman. The boss is stunned that the lunatic actually chose to become a mutant. Meanwhile, Kim is only focused on staying conscious. He had already prepared everything needed. The key piece was the Berserker glasses. Basically, they grant the madman trait for a short time, but it was the perfect item to unlock what he needed most. In that moment he crushes the glasses and gains the frenzy ability, clears his mind of distractions, and makes him fully focused on the fight. Even though it is an ability where you lose control, especially when you use it as a mutant, you get so out of control that you somehow regain control. You get it is less out of control than normal. Not sure if that makes sense. But if not, whatever. Because he is already charging to punch the boss. The man tries to block and does easily. He says he does not care what the kid tries. None of it will help. Then he activates a rage skill, and his muscles swell too. Man, this place is all about that trombolona. The man comes in with a punch, saying now the fun begins. And Kim, now fired up, says this is exactly what he wanted. Fair brawl. Face-to-face beatdown, they go wild, throwing fists like it is UFC night. Pulling JoJo-style moves, fists everywhere. Another punch lands on the boss face and knocks him off to the side. Right in the middle of the brawl, our guy gains new traits, super strength and steel armor, while a notice appears, saying the battle-triggered mind wipe is taking over his awareness. Our guy starts celebrating, saying this day is turning out perfect. Meanwhile, the boss steps forward, admitting he has never had a fight this good. But now it ends since his analysis is done, and victory is already certain. Kim throws a punch while the guy looks away, telling him to stop the bluffing. But the guy slips away. Our guy is shocked and swings again. But the guy keeps dodging it all. After missing 4 or 5 shots, he eats a hard hit to the stomach. Suddenly it turns into full UFC and he throws a cross. But the guy dips and fires back an uppercut. straight into his chin of course. Even in his new form, he still cannot stop flying backward. Crashing to the ground, he realizes this fight is slipping. He is the one losing, and on top of that, the frenzy effect is starting to fade out. Since it had to end eventually, he must spend everything left in one move. So he decides to stop close-range fighting.
Dropping à cultivation technique.
And a human heart technique. The boss bites his lip, wondering what trick he is using now. And just as Kim is about to act, the guy rushes in swinging again. But Kim grabs his arm, throws him aside and forms something in his hand, then tells the boss from the very start. He was never a brawler, he is a swordsman. His arm begins to change, and a blade replaces his hand. The boss looks confused, and before he can run away, bam, he gets stabbed in the gut. Blood bursts out and the boss realizes Kim used flash to strike from nowhere. What he cannot understand is how this kid has so many different skills. Kim pulls the blade free and says, "That really was a good fight." The boss staggers back, calls him a monster and drops. The problem is our guy pushed himself too far. A status screen shows up, warning his body is changing. The red tint in his eyes begins to fade, and he screams in pain. It is unclear if he is going insane or what. A golden aura appears and shoots into the sky, and Kim starts reverting. Oh, that rascal. He did not just go back to normal. He advanced to level 3 superhuman. He says he survived that because he evolved at the perfect moment. He really got lucky. Then he drops and sleeps like a baby, right there on the asphalt. Later, when he wakes up, he finds himself at a base in a risky situation, but it is fine. It was the bald company guy, the one who gave the mission, and brought him there hovering already. Our guy is relieved he is okay. He tells him to calm down, but the man is panicking, saying he thought Kim died because of that cursed janitor association. But our guy looks at his hand and tells him to relax, he healed fine. Then the boss praises him, saying it is crazy he wiped out the janitors all by himself, and ever since then, the company has been getting calls non-stop. The guy will not stop hyping him up, giving a thumbs up, calling him amazing, and saying after Kim passed out, he gathered everything left at the scene, so if he needs anything, he should just say it. But Kim says now that he is level 3, he has somewhere important to be. A week later he is back, standing before the mana measuring device, and this time the result is a level 3 warrior with 6 circuits. With that, he can get the official certificate and regain tons of benefits. Soaring is there congratulating him, saying he is truly a talented superhuman. He stands there awkwardly, as she calls him the nation's future. Out of nowhere he shows off a little, saying he is just excited for the certificate. That is all. Then later, in another room, she hands it over and says she is jealous. He asks why she is jealous, and she says there are many reasons, but the main one is she wishes she were as strong as him. Kim finds it a little weird because she, usually, is not someone who shows much emotion, and based on her in-game character, it would not even make sense for her to act like that. But here comes the madman again, ready to mess with the whole timeline, like he has nothing better to do right now. So he asks if she wants to become a superhuman. She says yes, of course. Who would not want that? Then he offers to take her as his student, and if she accepts, he guarantees she becomes superhuman. She asks how, but he only holds out his small hand, telling her not to worry. He guarantees it, because he sees her potential. Oh, you sneaky dog, trying to charm her with that smile, and she stands there all awkward, wanting to know what kind of potential he means. Obviously, the potential he means is that he knows the future, and she will become insanely strong. After all, she was an SSR in the game. He asks for her answer, and she pauses to think. Then blushing, she offers her hand, saying okay because she trusts him. I said she seemed plain before, but she is growing on me. The Pokemon catcher celebrates and shakes her hand, saying it was a smart choice. It is time to train an SSR for his party. Then she hesitates and says she must warn him. She already took intense training classes and still could not awaken, so it will be hard. But he tells her not to worry. He has plenty of information. He knows exactly how her awakening happens. The talent called Celestial Star Assassin. Yeah, that is a big deal. That is the trait. The incarnation of killing intent. Born in a bloodstained world. This is the first talent she must awaken. And that talent gives plus 100%. No weight plus 1000% combat experience. Meaning every time she fights, she learns 10 times faster than normal. The issue is since it is Berserker type. Every time she fights, there is a chance her mind gets corrupted. If she stays in battle too long, she becomes a mindless killer, and that is why things have a backstory like that, where she awakens later in the present. He says she must prepare first. She asks if he means money or strength, or what, and he says she must prepare her mental strength more than anything. Then someone enters the room, saying he is needed for another meeting, and they must go to the 5th floor. He looks a bit confused, but goes along and rides the elevator. He knows the higher the floor, the more important the people, and the 5th floor means a level 5 is calling him. The problem is he has no clue who that is, or why they want him, but the moment he walks in, look who it is, Woojin, the dude he helped create, and he is already level 5. The protagonist is left in the dust. The guy is even congratulating him for reaching level 3 and grips his shoulders, saying he is happy to see him there. But our guy is crushed that this bastard awakened from nowhere and still ended up level 5. He admits it makes sense though. The guy has strong family talent and trained for a long time. His mana strength built up what Kim lacked, and he finally awakened. Then his friend gives him a gift, saying it is a congratulations. Kim thinks about refusing, until he sees it has a mana-focused trait, perfect for a warrior like him. So he accepts and pats his shoulder, saying, never refuse a gift from a sincere friend. But then Woojin says there is more. He called him here to ask a favor. Seeing that serious look, he asks what this favor is. Then Woojin explains the favor is like the one he received. He has friends suffering from divine fever, and they need help too. The protagonist asks, did the church people give them that curse? And he says yes, he has 4 friends who went through what he did their whole childhood. The protagonist finds it strange. A whole group suffering like that. Then he remembers the 4 supporters who stood by Woojin in the game. If it is really them, this is the perfect chance to make things easier. So acting angelic, he says of course he will help. You cannot ignore someone in need, right my friend? The only thing he asks is to meet them before starting treatment. Later at Woojin's house, the 4 fools arrive, and just as he expected, they are the 4 who will follow Woojin later. A group of rich kids, hurt by the Chuch's hands. He says to begin, he needs to know if they were forced into baptism. The fools all say yes, while awkwardly asking if a cure is possible. Kim says yes, like he cured Woojin. He can cure them too, but it will hurt. And he asks if they can take it. They look at each other, getting excited until suddenly they all shout, they will do anything to beat that cursed divine fever, and Kim smiles, saying then it is time to begin. Man, where did those demon wings come from? I do not remember that power. 1 week passes. Good thing we already know what happened. Same path as Woojin's, and now the 4 fools are fully awakened, grinning wide just as Kim expected. Since they were talented, it was not much trouble. They cry thanking him and hug our guy. Then people appear in the back, calling him Professor, probably their parents, since they are bowing now. And more importantly, they brought what matters. A pile of gifts, humble as always. He thanks them, but that egghead behind him says they are generous while opening the boxes. Man, the best part of Hunter World is you always get loot like speed boots, a helmet with detection, an axe with rage, a shield with Acropolis, whatever that is, and 2 nectars. 2 nectars, man. Switch jobs already. Why keep hunting Gunjin? Just awaken and cure people. That is the real money. The families ask if he liked it all. He reins in his manic grin and turns around, saying, he truly feels grateful for every gift, but inside, he is celebrating hard. He got very lucky, but still, he was waiting for the real reward. As he thinks that, he notices 2 similar-looking men. Then one approaches, asking to speak privately for a moment. Our guy agrees and says he wants a word with a representative of the galactic market. The man says not to worry. He would do anything for someone who helped his child. Then Kim says he wants access to the underground gold mine that the company controls. The man looks startled and says, they do not have anything like that. Certainly not under their control. So it would be impossible. But then our guy lists the exact address, the floor and the dimensions, and asks if he goes there, will there really be nothing? The man suddenly changes expression, saying he has no idea how. The kid knows that, but sadly, even for him, getting access would be very hard. Kim promises he will not speak about anything he sees there. The dad hesitates and our guy begs, saying he only needs 1 day. That is all, and he will keep it secret forever. Cut to a parking garage. A wall is broken and he is there with Soaring. She says she never guessed something like this was hidden here. He tells her to be grateful. She has no idea how hard it was to get access. But this is where she will awaken. She finds it strange, asking why train in a sealed place like this one. He only says do not worry, and promises it will be fun. The truth is, he knows her trait is one of the hardest to awaken. Basically, you must push someone into an extreme situation where they fight for their life. So he is taking her into a deadly dungeon the world does not even know exists yet. And that is where she awakens in the future. But she is already shaking, saying this place is scary, dark, and smells awful. Then in the middle of her whining, something like a bat, or whatever that thing is, lunges in to bite. It was a claw and she dodges it. But her glasses shatter instantly. She screams for help. But he tosses a sword beside her and says, training starts now. She is confused. He tells her kill the zombie. And she says this is insane. But he says if she fights for her life, she will awaken. That is it. The zombie comes at her, while she keeps complaining, saying none of this makes sense. But fear of a bite wins out, and she turns and slashes the zombie. Our guy is stunned because it was the weakest, most half-hearted swing he has ever seen. And it still cut the monster like butter. Even before awakening, her natural talent is obvious. The first zombie drops, and he says she started well. But she complains that was too risky. She could have died, and says he must be crazy. He just says she did great. And she says yeah, but she is not confident. Yet deep down she is more sure than ever that she is ready. She asks again if this is okay. And he keeps walking as she nags him, saying he does not seem worried for her safety. Another zombie appears. She slashes its neck and it drops. He is more impressed, and asks if she studied fencing. She says no. She only did body strengthening, and never used a sword in real combat. So she really has talent. Our guy smiles humbly, saying yeah, she has some talent. Just a little, but inside, he is grinding his teeth, thinking she is way too overpowered. He trained for weeks, just to reach a fraction, then they keep moving. And she is amazed. This place is far bigger than she thought. How far are they going? He says do not worry. The exit will show up soon. Probably a lie, because what shows up next is an attack from the side. A drill zombie tries to stab her, but she dodges and looks confused. like a mechanical zombie, and it seems came straight from the game he used to play on his phone. She slashes it and its arm flies off. Then she finishes it, saying zombies like that should use hands only, and she cuts it in half. Our guy stands there stunned, saying she is doing better than he expected. She says her body is moving on its own, but she gets distracted and misses a zombie. Even without legs it bites her calf. Our guy kicks it away, saying, "That bastard ruined everything." She asks what happens to her now, and he says it is over. Everyone knows what happens. When a zombie bites you, her face already looks like it is changing, and she begs him to kill her before it is too late, but Kim apologizes, because he brought a solution, of course. Then later, sitting by the wall, she says she was terrified. She thought she was going to turn into that thing. Then she says, "The zombies here feel strange. Their clothes and gear, the way they move, it all feels artificial." Our guy says he agrees. This Galaxy Mall was built far faster than anyone would believe. For something this massive, that was only possible with an army of workers and with non-stop construction, day and night. A lot of people died, but if you check the death records, the total is 0, because during the project, anyone who died got buried in cement. As always, Koreans pushing capitalism to the limit. Eventually, it started coming to light, so the owner hid everything here, inside this dungeon, and sealed it off. The girl replies, she never imagined a place like this had such a horrible story. Now she asks how he knows this secret. He stands there unsure, trying to come up with a lie. The truth is in the game. The Church of Crazies eventually releases the zombies to cause chaos in the city. And that is how this dungeon opens. For the first time, but to lie. He says he has a special ability that helps him find places like this. The problem now is, he thought this would be perfect for her awakening, but looking at her, nothing has happened yet, and she looks sad, saying, "It is awful those victims suffered like that. Until death at least. What she can do now is help them finally rest." He praises her, saying she finally found some resolve. But her eye starts turning red, and she says she is strangely feeling the urge to fight. He plays it cool, saying, "It is nothing, just keep going." But he knows her awakening is starting. Deeper in the cave, she says she is freezing, asking why the air dropped so fast. He tells her be careful, and soon they reach another entrance. Inside the warehouse, a radio plays a message saying, in the house there were 3 bears, Mama Bear, Papa Bear, and Baby Bear. They both look around, and she is confused by that kid's story. Then the message starts distorting, repeating the word bear. They cover their ears, trying to figure it out. During that distraction, a block of ice flies in and hits our guy in the back. It almost hits her, but he blocks it just as expected. It was an ambush, and the area boss appears, named Conjoint Phantoms, a merged form of the buried victims, a level 3 mutant. He says they must leave, because she cannot handle this. She hesitates, and before she moves, the boss is already attacking. He blocks the bastard, telling him to stop throwing frozen lollipops. But when he looks up, the creature is charging up a blast. Then an ice beam hits like a pillar, straight into his chest, and for the 100th time, he gets slammed into a wall, and the ice starts freezing him in place. He tells her to run, saying he will stay and die for her. But she is overwhelmed, crying that she cannot leave him. Then he calls out to her, saying he knows she has power, because she has the Skybreaker talent. She is unsure, saying that is impossible. But he smiles, telling her to trust herself a little. If she believes she can, her talent will awaken. That is the last lesson he can give. Another wave of attacks flies toward them both. But instead of reacting, she stands there, eyes shut, wondering how she will survive. Ice stalactites crash down, all over the cave, and when you look, she has become a solid ice block. Yet even while frozen, she tells him not to worry. Her eyes glow red and a golden aura appears. She says she will trust herself and trust him. Hellman. She is shining gold and awakening, telling him not to quit. Our sneaky guy celebrates, because the SSR is being born. The ice shatters apart, and her awakening begins. Right then, Soaring reaches level 1 superhuman, staring at her hand. She asks what kind of power this is. She is hyped that she awakened, but an attack comes from behind her. Luckily our guy rushes in and blocks it. Oh, you sly devil. She is confused. He was dying a moment ago, and now he is fine. And he says now that she awakened, he does not need to keep acting anymore. You really thought the guy who beat a level 4 was actually getting bullied by a level 3 boss. He explains he did all that because she needed an extreme situation to awaken, and she is still lost, asking if he really risked his life just for her, and he tells her not to worry, because now it is time to like this video to help Mamoru make more juicy content for viewers. Hit the bell, and I am out.